Hey, this is Jim McDonald. Welcome to this episode of the PowerCast. But before we get started, I have some breaking news from Compex. This is my post-it note right here. Today, 12/20/2017, you can get 30% off of the lowest price being offered on any Compex unit that is not the Edge, which is their lowest price model, and free one-day shipping. So they'll ship it out basically pretty much as soon as they get the order. Today only, and you're going to want to use the code PowerCast30. That's PowerCast30, not the code that you see later on. Use PowerCast30 only. And after today, 12/21 through 12/31, so through the end of the year, you can still get 30% off, but and you can still get free shipping. It's just not free one-day shipping. So take advantage of this deal. It's a good one. Welcome to episode 248 of the PowerCast. Our guest for this episode, this actually was recorded back in May, and this episode kind of got lost in the shuffle. Our guest was Paul Gomez, and Paul started off as a surfer. He became one of the co-founders of the Hurley surf brand, which was eventually purchased by Nike. Spent years in the Nike organization, apparently learned a great deal there. Now he's with Progenex. Very interesting guy, very interesting worldview, definitely colored by the surf world and the music world. Very interesting guy. So check out this episode, like and share. We're back on Friday with the last regularly scheduled episode of the PowerCast until January 10th, where we'll have Dr. John Berardi on. In the meantime, there may be we may drop some bonus content along the way. So anyway, have a happy holiday, and I'll be back on Friday. I'm just gonna edit that. I'm just gonna edit because I'm too tired. Support for this episode of the PowerCast comes from Precision Nutrition, home of the world's top nutrition coaches. Head over to get.pn/PowerCast for a free nutrition course, especially for PowerCast listeners, focusing on the role of carbs. That's get.pn/PowerCast. Reebok.com, home of the Legacy Lifting Shoe, the official shoe of the PowerCast at Reebok.com. Ape Man Strong apparel for people who lift heavy weights at ApeManStrong.com. Compex Muscle Stim products at CompexUSA.com. Use the code PowerCast for an additional 28% off all but the lowest price model. HowMuchYouBench.net. Use the code PowerCast for 15% off slingshots and free shipping on orders over $100. And Bodybuilding.com, the world's largest fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com has free plans for every level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self. Mark Bell's PowerCast is also sponsored by Health IQ, an insurance company that helps weightlifters get special life insurance rates. They are also the official life insurance partner of USA Weightlifting. To see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/PowerCast or mention the promo code PowerCast when you talk to a Health IQ agent.
Recorded live in West Sacramento, California, this is Mark Bell's PowerCast. Standing just to the left of Jim McDonald, here's your host, Mark Bell.
Where'd you grow up?
I was born at Montebello Presbyterian, and then we lived in Boyle Heights till I was like 7. Then we moved on up to La Habra. And I watched my dad kind of like build a really good life for us, but didn't drink it all away. Die in the streets alone.
Shit.
It's my last conversation with my dad, and like I feel sometimes.
How old was he when he passed on?
He would have been like 63.
Okay.
But he was like he came from nothing, became highly successful, and then left his life in the streets dead.
What was some of his background?
Military,
yeah.
kind of just never went to college and worked really hard. That's the things that my dad instilled in me. 2 things I'll never forget to this day. If your word's good and you're honest, you'll get everywhere you need in life. If people know your word's good, then they'll count on you. If you're honest and you're truthful about it,
right.
and like if you make a deal, honor a deal.
Right. That makes sense.
and then people back you.
Do you think that maybe he felt in his life that he was like undeserving of certain things, even though he was successful? Or you just think he just flat out turned into like an alcoholic?
He got caught up. People get caught up. He got caught up. We went from like getting like kites for Christmas, like literally kites. We'd get a kite between the brothers. Mm-hmm. We'd have a kite, or you get
one kite.
A kite
to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you get everybody caught the balsa wood plane.
But you guys were probably pumped about it.
Yeah, and you got remember
Yeah,
kids
if
would
I got a kite.
Remember the kids would get the balsa wood plane with the propeller.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I like
absolutely.
those.
And then you'd get the balsa wood plane with a piece of metal that goes on the front, and you throw it,
that stuff's
and then
the
you
best.
and then you put Scotch tape, and it never flies the same.
It's
Yeah.
got like 4 days of
Yeah.
maybe.
That's
maybe.
kind of shit.
If you're lucky, depending upon how much wind there is and how far you drop it off the balcony.
And then
or
a
whatever.
kite, as a kid, you always just think it's gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like this is totally
And
gonna
it
work.
seldom does.
This is gonna be
the way you
fucking
think it's
great.
going
Dude,
to.
And then it's a nightmare.
I will challenge anyone in a kite flying contest. The master of flying.
But you grew up around beaches and stuff, and it's quite windy, right? Or no?
I grew up at the
No.
beach.
Okay.
I grew up inland. I grew up far away from the beach.
Okay.
And that's funny how I became a pro surfer, not living anywhere near the beach.
Yeah, it's uncommon to be from the hood.
So grew up inland, got into skateboarding, and then I was kind of in that zone. I was diagnosed with high dyslexia at a young age. So in third grade, I was held back again in third grade. So my dad was embarrassed by that, so they moved me to a different school. And it was like, so it was a kind of like. And
Is your dad tough on you guys?
Oh yeah. But I'm tough. That's the thing to me is like kids. Nobody's tough on kids anymore,
Right.
and that's why kids have no respect.
Do you think that your kids have to have a little bit of a natural fear, of the parent a little bit?
There's no such thing as fear. It's respect. Like if you fear something,
Right.
you fear that it's going to harm you, right?
Right. Gotcha.
Fear's like if you're fearing something, you should probably not be there.
Right.
If you respect it, and like there's just a certain level of respect.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, this goes against what my dad, the way he brought me up, rather than he's going to fucking punch me in the face.
It's anything. Like perfect example. Yesterday I walked in. I wasn't afraid of what you guys were doing. I just respected your space, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
You were scared. You pooped yourself a little bit. I could smell it.
It was the cleanse from that Vibe restaurant. Uriah Faber, thanks for the cleanse. I drank 7 of these.
Yeah,
drinks.
actually, he did hit the bathroom quick.
Dude, I was like sprinting. No, that thing.
He was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I went,
dude, it's like
Where's your bathroom? Doesn't matter.
when your butt has. That's the only like everybody says. Oh, the only thing you have no control is your butt.
Yeah.
Your butt sees a toilet and it has to poop.
That's what I've been saying. That's why I've been twerking all over town. People think I'm
love
trying
to
to
see you
fucking make
twerk.
money.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited. That's
What do you
all.
twerk to? What's your band?
It doesn't matter. It could be anything. There could be no music playing. I could just bust it out.
I don't understand twerking. How did that become?
A thing?
My dad does. My dad understands it because my dad's in church and his pastor's giving a speech in front of everybody, and he says something about like how kids are messing around with their video games and watching people twerk on YouTube, and my dad's like, twerk? He's like, what's that? So my dad looks it up on YouTube. My dad's like almost 70. And so his phone is as loud as humanly. I don't even know how his phone gets to be that loud. Like I didn't know phones.
It's got an old people amplifier on
Holy
it.
shit, it's loud. If it rings, it like the world knows,
It's like my text.
He's got it cranked up somehow, and so he looks up twerk on YouTube and he plays a video. And it's like boom, 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 and he's like
in church.
holding it away from his face because he can't see. So like other people are like seeing what he's looking up as the fucking pastor's up there talking, and so he's like, I learned what twerking was pretty quickly.
It's crazy though, yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
like how does like
It's a thing.
It's honestly like, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Be consistent and twerk hard, right? Isn't that
It's
what
just
they
like
say?
the thousands and hundreds of thousands and probably millions of ass pictures on Instagram. It's like, yeah, you got a nice ass. How many
Do you
times
do that?
a day do I need
you
to
show
know
a
that?
lot of ass?
I rarely post a selfie ever. I look at myself and just get super bummed out. I just look at it.
I'm
I'm like,
right there with you.
I just go, damn, I'm old. This sucks. Like
How old are you?
51.
Oh, okay.
I'm older.
Really? You look way better than I do.
Well, I haven't spent any time in the sun. If I did, it would be bad.
Yeah, I
'Cause
spend a
don't-
lot of time in the sun, but I'm a beaner, so it kind of plays out. in
Yeah,
my carbs.
I'm the whitest person in the room.
Yeah,
so
you're just
usually,
you just like are immediately like a piece of beef jerky
it's
instantaneously.
really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's. What is your nationality?
Western European. Irish, Scottish,
Yeah,
whitish,
my wife's Irish.
little German.
So you've had a lot of success. You were helped, or you were the owner of Hurley, correct?
One of the founders, Bob and I.
One of the founders.
Yeah.
And then before that, you were with a huge company as well.
I started when I was a kid working at Quicksilver.
Okay.
So I started surfing I got sponsored for surfing when I was 14.
Shit.
So that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So then I was surfing for
Sponsored in a pretty big way, like to
Well,
where
in the beginning, it was like sponsorship back then was like free stuff,
Right.
And then I started doing pretty good, and I would go to Hawaii, and I was never really afraid of big waves, so I would go to Hawaii and surf, and then Danny.
I know you were just telling me off air. You were telling me you can get me to surf, but I look at something like surfing. I just think it's impossible.
It's not impossible. You know why? Because you have an incredible sense of balance.
Right.
That's the thing that blows me away about fitness. Is they have an incredible sense of balance, like the amount of balance. And I learned this the other day when I was over at Barbell Brigade, because I was asking Cyril. I was like, so like the first time I started working out, Miranda came to my house and she goes, "Yeah, what's that?" I go, "That's my bar." She goes, "Your bar doesn't spin." I go, "Why are bars?" When I was a kid, like as you got stronger, you took your bar and you put it in bigger cement things, and that's what you used, right? There was no spinning going on with the bar. And she goes, "That's why you're the master of the reverse curl." Because I'm
Yeah.
you know, I
Just lift it whatever way you can.
you just lift it.
Because it doesn't rotate.
So, like to your point, like you guys have an incredible sense of balance. Like
Right.
the amount of weight, like if you don't have balance, how are you gonna squat over 1,000 pounds?
Yeah.
It's you have to, your awareness and your balance
Right.
is off the charts. But yet you get it on an unstable surface, or you get in a place where you're uncomfortable.
Right.
Then you're like, and that's always a challenge. Like I said yesterday, I walked in here and I just respected what you guys were doing.
It's like anything else. It takes some time to learn.
It just takes some time, and it's just making it fun. Like it would be like when you guys, Jacob, right?
Absolutely. Jacob Ross. We've had him on the podcast.
So Jacob Ross, like I
He's
love
our
him.
boy.
I love Jacob, and
Yeah,
the thing
we
about
do too.
Jacob that's incredible is he makes it really fun. Like he's an animal.
It's also just really kind.
He's just, but
he's got a good heart.
But he's super kind, and he makes it fun. Like right now, Jacob's been doing my programming. It's been really fun. A lot of stuff he sends me, I have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
Like
You're like, what the hell's this?
Yeah, I asked Miranda, and Miranda's like, "Oh, I'm like, what does this mean?" I don't know. Then sometimes she's like, "I don't know what this means either." As I was saying, like, so I got into surfing, and then I got sponsored. So I was at Newport Surf and Sport Surf Company, and then I got sponsored by Quicksilver, and a guy named Danny Kwok and Bob McKnight, who's Bob McKnight, still the CEO and owner of Quicksilver. I surf for them, and they helped me compete a little bit. And then Danny pulled me aside. He goes, "You know what you have? Because you have an incredibly outgoing personality, but you don't have the talent to be a pro surfer." And he goes, "I'll keep paying you the next year to keep trying to make it as a pro surfer, or you can come here and work for me."
Were you kind of like, what?
No, I looked at it for like, I had an immense amount of respect for him.
Right.
And I'm just like, and he goes, I go, "What does that look like?" He goes, "Well, you pretty much make no money right now, and you can come have a real job and make money, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm 17. I dropped out of school.
Mm-hmm.
I have incredibly bad dyslexia, and
I have an opportunity to make
he's
some
saying
dough.
I'm a good talker.
Right.
So basically, I have to learn how to talk. I already know how to talk, so I can
Right.
talk. So I went there, and I was there, and then I think we went public in 1987. Quicksilver was the first action sports company to go public, and then we went public in 1987. And it was fun to be part of that and like really learn how what it's like to take a company public. And because even if you're there and you're working in marketing, then there's all this.
Is that what you were doing, marketing at the time?
Yeah, I ran the surf team. So I went from surfing with everybody to being their boss, which was very interesting because a lot of the guys, it's pretty funny when I'll never forget.
Especially when you're so young, too.
Yeah, and these guys were my heroes, right? Like I'll never forget. Like I lived inland still. I didn't live at the beach, and that's one of the things where I go back to is a friend. His name's Eric Lewis, and his dad's Dave Lewis, and his dad was a sheriff and a SWAT, and he was in his dad, for some reason, saw something in me and would give us a ride to the beach. and I learned how to surf. I knew how to skateboard really well already, so I just picked up surfing, and then I just found myself riding the bus every day. And I always go back to, like, the best surfer in the world is Kelly Slater. You know where the worst waves in the world are? Where Kelly's from.
Oh, really?
But you know why he's so great? Because he always went surfing.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have perfection, right? He grew up where the waves were bad, so he knew how to perform in the worst environment. So for me, I lived inland, so if I was going to the beach, and my dad had a good hand. My dad would go like this. He knew I wasn't going to go to school, so he would get up in the morning, put me in the car, drive me to the beach, drop me off, and I wouldn't see him until he got off work. I mean, I was at the beach all day, glassy, blown out, glassed off, like the whole. Every gamut. If it was 10 feet or flat, I was there. So I didn't have. It was like when you grew up on the beach and you live at the beach, you wake up and you go, it's not that good. I'm not going to go out. When you don't live there and you get dropped off there, it doesn't matter how good or
and
bad.
you got shit to do.
Yeah, you're gonna go surfing.
You just figure out how to
make
it
it work. Yeah, you're
work.
gonna figure it out. Like, so that happened. Then I worked there, and then the head of the sales guys had left and went to Billabong, and Bob was at Billabong, and I knew Bob. Bob Hurley's probably one of the best surfboard shapers in the world, if not the best. And he had grown up shaping surfboards. And funny story, and how Billabong got into the States, and this goes back to, is like, be careful what you ask for. So Bob had a little surf shop in Newport Beach, and he was a surfboard shaper. He shaped the lightning bolt boards. They're called ghost shapers. So he had his own surfboards, and then like the big shapers, like the famous shapers, they can't make enough boards, so they have people ghost shape for them.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then they finish them and sign their names to them. You have ghost shapers. And Bob was like, he made this guy's famous surfer named Rabbit Bartholomew. He's a world champion, and he got 4 magic boards from Bob. Getting magic boards are virtually impossible to get. And he got 4 in a row. Like, that's unheard of. Any shaper, Al Merrick, the best shapers in the world, go, Bob really made 4 magic surfboards. Like, that's unheard, because it's a hand-shaped board.
Gotcha.
It's like, it's not something that comes up. They come off machines now, but back then it was like hand-shaped. It was all eye. You had to make it perfect, and then you have to go through the glassing process and fins, whatever. So Bob was at Billabong, and I knew Bob, and I came over, stepped out of marketing, went into customer service. And at that time, I had hair down to here, earrings, and I was big and still pretty angry. And it was like, I was the customer service guy, and people would yell, get mad at me on the phone, and I'm like, I'd be like, okay, cool, awesome, I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna run into you.
How old were you at that?
Hey, I'm your customer service guy. They're like, oh shit. I'm like, what do you got to say now? Well, Bob's like, you can't do that. So
how old are you at that point?
Probably 18.
Oh, okay.
18, 19 years old. Still snot-nosed, bad.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was running nightclubs, doing everything to make ends meet, because I was on my own. I just was, and then when everything started falling apart with my mom and dad, I ended up coming back home and staying with my mom. And then so we did that, and then I got married I met my wife when I was 23. Back to what I was saying, so we did that, and then I went work with Bob at Billabong, and I was promoting nightclubs, doing concert tours, anything to make ends meet. I took out all my misbehavior as a kid of knowing all the bad people, and then turns out a lot of times bad people get in powerful positions within entertainment and whatever, and
Right.
they find their way, and you still have all those connections and those roots, and they can help you. So we did Billabong for a long time, and it was really fun. And it was funny, I went in customer service.
Now, Billabong is at the time wasn't a United States company.
No,
right?
and that's how it started. So Bob had his little surf shop, and regressing to back to what I was saying earlier. Bob was a surf, and he was in Newport Beach, and he was a little shop, and he went to the guys at Quicksilver and said, "Hey, I have this little shop. I'm shaping surfboards. I'm selling my own T-shirts, but Quicksilver's the hot thing. Would you guys consider selling me your product in the store so I can get my store further off the ground?" And at that point, there was Newport Surf and Sports, Surfside Sports, and they told him, "No, we're not going to sell you." And there was a guy named Chip Rowland, and he was down in Australia, and he came back with these board shorts, Billabong board shorts. And he's like, "Bob, check these out. These are really cool. There's this young kid, Mark Ocalupo, and these young pro surfers down there we're rocking this company called Billabong. It's the new underground thing." And Bob's like, so he started bringing Billabong into the country, buying it, flying back with it, selling it at a shop, and doing a really good job of promoting it. And that's how Billabong made it here. If Quicksilver would have never decided to block Bob,
he wouldn't have gone looking for another
he would,
product.
and he brought Billabong here.
Store.
So we in turn, that was like, I think it was 85 when Bob brought Billabong here. I went over there in mid 87, and we just started doing Billabong, and it was really fun. We grew the brand. It was super fun. But as we started, progressing, Bob's a really forward thinker and very progressive, and we started looking at other aspects and avenues. And I had really good connections in music, and we started getting a lot of bands wearing Billabong. And I think the final straw for us is I had I'm really good friends with the guys from the Beastie Boys, and they were blowing up. And Adam wore a Billabong shirt on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And we were like, oh my God, whoa, we're on the cover of Rolling Stone, can you believe this, blah, 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 blah. And we got a call going, hey, Paul should be fired. And I'm like, well, why should I be fired? And this is Australia saying I should be fired. And I'm like, for what? Like, you have some white hip hop band from New York, we're in Billabong, we're a surf brand.
It's like, oh, you don't get it at all.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is really gnarly. Like I was
Doesn't
actually
make any sense, yeah.
Yeah, I was baffled. I'm like, wow, this doesn't seem right. And their whole mantra was only a surfer knows the feeling. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's a gap here, because like I always look at surfing, and what I see as water sports. I don't care where you live. If you live in New York, your swimming pool is your beach. If you live in the middle of America, that river's your beach. That's your beach. That's your ocean. That's your surf. That's your identity. That's your feeling. I love the fact we're born of water, right? Yeah. We live in amniotic fluid till we come into the world.
Each person has different connection to some sort of body of water, right?
Some sort of body of water. It's like, and so for us, I was like kind of going, wow, this is crazy. Like there's all these opportunities out there. And at that time, it was like, Bob had just got diagnosed with cancer. And I was like, I would drive him to his things, and we talked the whole time. And I was like, dude, this is gnarly. This sucks. This is too much stress. And he's like, we should do our own thing. We should do our own thing. And he's like, okay, well, he ended up flying to Australia and meeting with those guys. We were the license. And this was back in the day of faxes. And he comes back and he goes, hey, and like, I was at that time, I was like looking to go work other places. I was just done. And I knew my connections could get me a job anywhere else. And he comes back and goes, hey, we got the deal. Like, it's all good. The license agreement's better. At that point, I think we're like $180 million in business.
Shit.
So it's like
crazy.
It's like we're a big part of their company. And comes back, it's all good. We got the deal. And I'm like, awesome. And then it's a Sunday. The fax comes through, and we look at it and we go, this isn't the deal. So this isn't the deal. Bob's like, took the deal, drove to the airport, got on a plane back, and flew back to Australia. Flew back to Australia and goes, I'm giving you a year's notice. I quit. I'm done. We're doing our own thing. And I'm like, this is rad.
Yeah.
Like, we're going for it. Like, and
I'm thinking about that scene from Jerry Maguire where they're sitting around the fax machine waiting for the offer to come in.
Yeah, but back then it was fax machines, right?
Right.
Like, I'm old school. Like, it's like faxes, like emails, like that shit didn't exist. It was like, it's so different now. Like, and that's kind of where I get frustrated with people is like, my friends who work in the internet, I'm like, do you guys talk to each other? Like, as they're talking, I get mad at my kids. Like I'll have a car full of kids and they're all texting each other.
Right.
I'm like, dude, can you talk to each other? So fast forward, so we come back and we go, hey, we're going to do our own thing. And we went through different names and everything else. I'm like, Bob, it's got to be called Hurley. He's like, dude, I'm not that guy. I'm like, you are one of the most prolific surfboard shapers on the planet. People know who you are. You're that guy. You're that guy. You're the guy. Like, and he's a wonderful human, one of the most humble people you'll ever meet. And we talked him into it and said, okay, we're going to do Hurley. And we went for it. And everyone's like, oh, you guys got to be small. You got to come out. You got to be small. And we're like, dude, we got like 130 employees. Like, we can't be small.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work. Like, we can't be small.
You got to make a big splash fast.
Yeah, we didn't have a choice to make. And luckily we had, like, back then, banks lent money, and there was, like, opportunity. And you
already had that many employees from the business.
From Billabong, yeah. And it was funny. We sat down with our sales team This is why I love about sales things. Sales guys get complacent. They just once they get to like, dude, I make $100,000 a month. Why do I need to make 2?
Right.
Because you need to. It's like you have the opportunity to. You should. It's like it's not about complacency. So we sat down with our whole sales team, explained what we're doing. The whole sales team quit via Federal Express letter the next day. We lost our whole sales team overnight, except for like 2 or 3 guys. I mean, we're talking 25 guys quit.
Shit.
And we're like, oh shit, now we got anybody to sell it. And Bob, I'm like, dude, hire their sub reps. Screw those guys. All the kids that go in the shops and talk to the kids on the floor, those are the sub reps. Let's go, let's hire them. Let's get all the kids and give them the opportunity. He's like, do you think so? Hell yeah, fly them all out. Let's get every kid out here who works. All their sub reps quit and came and worked for us. So they're like little cronies that they thought they all quit and took their jobs.
So the people who were actually doing the on the street leg work just left.
Just left.
Yeah.
And then now these guys who had their cronies, they had to go back and actually work.
Yeah.
And then the kids, so that changed the paradigm because like right then, to your point, it's like MySpace. All these things are happening. There's there's a different shift in the market space. So we had the kids who talked to the kids on the floor. So when the kids go, the kids were like walking in going, dude, what's hot? Dude, there's this new brand, Hurley. It's super hot. They weren't going, oh, it's Billabong's. That's the old guy who comes in here and who pitches me product, who walks by me and is too cool to talk to me and goes and talks to the owner of the store. And we had a great relationship with the owner of the store. So we blew past our number immensely. Our first year, we didn't fire anybody. We had to make some significant, into the tens of millions of dollars to keep our employees and keep the door. And we blew past those. And then the second year, we like doubled again. It was a perfect storm. I worked in music, and Blink-182 at that time had blown up. And if you ever look at MTV, whenever there's a logo on, they blot it out. They put a sticker over it. My best friend Rick DeVoe, who I did concert tours with ever, he managed Blink-182, and he's like, dude, they're opening the VMAs, and he's like, dude, they're putting stickers on, they're putting duct tape over the Hurley logos, and I'm like, okay, put duct tape over, but you're punk rock, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, right when they walk out, have them rip them off and throw the duct tape in the crowd. And it's live, right? Mm-hmm. So they walk out on stage and tear the duct tape off. So they're standing, opening the VMAs, Hurley.
Nice.
Playing the VMAs. I'm like, this is insane. Then they won Best New Artist. Hurley again. And then they closed the show. Hurley again. And we're talking, that's when MTV was like.
What year is that?
It was 1999. And it was like, blew up like insane.
Wow.
Is that I'm forgetting my timeline here. Is that the internet is there?
Yeah, it's like stuff starting to happen.
Are
like
you guys selling online too, or
no,
it's just
not selling online. There was no online.
So you need a ton of customer service, take the phone calls.
Yeah, but we had all the infrastructure. We didn't let anybody go. When everyone was like, you got to be small. So if we would have let people go and had that growth, we would have failed.
Yeah,
because we wouldn't have the infrastructure to cover it. So then you go 1999, 2000, we doubled our numbers again. 2001, we doubled our. I mean, now we're just.
So these things that are
happening.
happening.
It took us 15 years to get the Billabong. We did in 3.
Wow.
These big things that are happening. The cover of Rolling Stones with Billabong, and then the MTV VMA Awards. These things that are happening don't cost you anything except for the cost of the shirt and your just long-term relationships with people.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, so we did some really fun stuff like that, and then Bob had just finished having cancer, and then I got diagnosed with cancer.
Shit.
So his surgery was a radical right nephrectomy, and my surgery was called a radical right orchiectomy. He lost his right kidney, I lost my right nut. Never say you give your right nut for anything, because they do come collecting. One of my best friends, he's super successful, Travis, called me the other day. He's like, dude, my nut film, I can't be cancer. And he goes, I'll just say you give your right nut. Sure. He actually has surgery today for cancer, right nut. But, so we had cancer, and then I had cancer. Bob had cancer, then I had cancer. And then we have this juggernaut of a company. Like, it's going crazy, and we're like, dude, this is really gnarly. Like, we should bring a partner on. We should sell this thing. We don't want to go public, because if we go public, we'll be. Bob's way smarter than I am. He's got a junior college degree, but like, we'll get fired. Like, I can't talk to Wall Street. You know,
Right.
that's not what I do. That's not what you do. So we're like, hey, let's look at companies we really like. So we liked Apple, we liked Nike, we liked the Levi's, we liked Gucci. And the reason we like Gucci is because Gucci's got what, like a $3 billion liquid in the bank,
Right.
Yeah.
and they have stores that nobody shops. Like, I don't even, what's going on there?
Yeah,
Because I had this conversation with Bart about it.
Yeah.
He's like, you like Gucci? I'm like, think about Gucci. What is it a front of? What's that fronting? Like, because who walks in and buys a $2,000 t-shirt?
It's insanity.
Right? Like, you go to their stores are prime real estate everywhere in the world. And you walk in, every morning there's like perfect.
We went to a bunch of stores like that when we were in New York City, just for fun. You know, just like check it out. And my daughter like finds this cute little keychain thing, and she's like, "Oh, this is so cute. I want to get." It was like $750.
I was gonna say it had to start with a 7 and have a bunch of
Yeah, it was insane.
digits
I was
behind
like,
it.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, does it really say $750? Yeah, fucking crazy.
Yeah. So we sat there and we decided, like, hey, we need to get a partner. We want this thing to be global. We want to do some really fun stuff with this. And we had it was Moss Adams. They do acquisitions of company, and they were working for us. And then we had reached out to a bunch of different companies. We had some companies from Japan interested in buying us and whatever. And then one of the most brilliant men I've ever worked with in my life is a guy named Scott Olivet. And he had reached out and said, hey, Nike's interested in making a deal with you. And we're like, oh, rad, like Nike, like that's on our list. Like, Nike's awesome. And that's where I always look at when people go, oh, Nike's coming into CrossFit. I go, it doesn't pencil. They're never coming in CrossFit. It's CrossFit's a marketing spend for Nike. And it's actually what they're doing. They're killing it. The way they're positioning themselves in the space is like, they don't have to have any events.
Right.
They don't have to, they're very smart. And,
They wait too, right? Like they just wait. Like, well, hey, let's see how this CrossFit thing plays out.
Yeah.
Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
They're Burger Kinging to
And then CrossFit
Reebok's,
will at some point,
McDonald's.
and which I think we're already there. It's having less and less of a value.
yeah,
And-
it's interesting. So it's, as you go there, so we ended up, it was September 10th, 2001, where we have a meeting at Nike. And we fly up there. It's myself, Bob Hurley, a guy Joe K, and this other guy Mike Oshner, our CFO. And we go up there, and we're like going up there, and like I'm going, dude, I'm gonna sit down with Phil Knight. Like I'm actually gonna be in a room with Phil Knight, like, and be able, like, not just a handshake. Like I get to break bread with Phil Knight.
Yeah.
Phil Knight's probably one of the most incredible people you'll ever meet. If you have the time to actually sit down and break bread with that guy. I mean, $500 in a college thesis, $30 billion company.
Yeah.
He's pretty damn smart. And
Yeah.
if you read the book he just put out, like all the challenges that every business had, he went through all of them as well.
Right.
Bad partners, the list goes on. Everything anybody does in business. Right. So we sit down, and I'll never forget this. So it's called MC4, McEnroe 4, and the MC4 is where everyone sits. It's up, and we walk into Nike. It's the McEnroe building. It's the 4th floor. And we go in this conference room, and it's Scott, and it's me, and it's Bob, and then Phil, Mark Parker, Charlie Denson, Sandy Bodecker, Don Blair, Tom Clark. Tom Clark was one of the best mentors I've ever had in my whole life. And he took Nike from $300 million to $7 billion. That's this, and this guy's, we actually share the same birthday. So Tom Clark, you'll probably never see this, but you're incredible. So we sat down, and the first thing we do is like, Phil had like a half an hour for us. So he walks in, and we're doing the chit chat, like, need to do this. We have to sit down and jump into the meats and bones of the meetings. And the first thing they ask is like, okay, do you guys have a deck? And I'm like,
what's that?
well, yeah. I'm like, was I like, oh, were we? They didn't mean as a surfboard or a skateboard?
We're on deck.
Yeah, like I'm like, was I supposed
Upper
to
deck?
bring a skateboard? Like I was totally about. I didn't know what a deck was. And then he's like, and then Bob's like looking at Scott, who said to me like, dude, aren't you talk like, dude, we're like enamored, like do something, like save us, we're dying. And then Phil goes, okay, so you don't have a deck. I don't have a deck. He's like, do you have a PowerPoint presentation? Well, we kind of have these papers. I mean, I don't really, it's kind of this.
Got some numbers.
Got some stuff.
Pencil some stuff
And Phil
out
goes
there.
like this. He looks over at Bob, and at this point, Bob's just like white. And he goes, you don't have a PowerPoint presentation, and you don't have a deck. Bob's all, no, I don't have this. He goes, going to be my best meeting of the day. Seriously. So it's going to be my best meeting of the day. And he ended up spending the whole day with us. Because he asked Bob, like, where'd you start? And Bob just goes, I was a surfboard shaper. And Phil's like that guy who was like the design aspect of like what he was trying to lighten in shoes, Bob was trying to lighten in a surfboard.
Yeah.
Bob was trying speed and agility, Bob was trying to twit. And they just...
Well, that's the backbone of Nike is that people lose sight of that's what that guy's background was.
Yeah.
It was shoes.
Yeah, so
he was into shoes.
They just like started totally geeking out. Like it was like they were like two peas in a pod. It was like crazy. Just like and those guys would talk shoes and we had no clue what they were talking about. And Bob would talk surfboards and we could just chime in and go, well, this is what a double channel hole means, or this is what this tucked rail means, or this is an entry point on a surfboard. This is how it moves to the water. And they're like, how do you guys understand all this? But it was this really awesome, positive, melting pot.
And if you'd gone in prepared like everybody else, it would have been over in half an hour.
Yeah, it would have just been like, okay, well, here you go. Let's look at the numbers and does this work or not?
We'll buy it.
So fly back and we're flying out of Portland, right? Well, where's the first plane that hit the buildings come out of? Portland, but it was Portland, Maine. So, that's that morning we wake up and it's 9/11.
Crazy.
And I'm like, we come into work and like we're just like, okay, this World War III, what's going to happen? And I had friends in New York who had friends in New York and they were driving. I had friends get in their car and start driving to New York to pick up family members to get them out of New York. Just, I'm driving to New York. Want to go with me? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna stay with my family.
Yeah.
And so we closed down that day. We've actually closed down, I think, pretty much the rest of the week to set everybody go, hey, go spend time with your families. We have no idea what's going to happen, right? Well, we don't know what's going on in the world. Like, we just need to take a minute to reflect. And then we came back and we said, hey, we're going to, we're America. We're great. We're awesome. We'll survive this. Let's keep moving forward. And 2 weeks later, we got a call from Nike saying, hey, we want to make this deal. That was it. It was insane. Like, it was so fun for me to get, like, I could go back to, like, I fancied myself a pretty successful guy. And then I had a guy like Tom Clark who pulled me aside and goes, you know what? You're kind of a big mouth. He just called me out and he goes, probably one of the smartest guys I've worked with. He goes, but if you want to survive here, you kind of have to get rid of everything that you know and start learning these types of things and pick and he mentored me. And it was like, I was at Nike for 12 years.
Wow.
To the point where I was like, on my last 2 years there, I was, had an office. I worked there 2 days a week. I'd fly up, I'm a gazillion miles on Alaska Airlines, but it was awesome. And then, Mark and Charlie had stepped in, Phil had stepped down, Mark and Charlie had stepped in the president's position, and I had a great relationship with Mark and still do. And it was like, I love those guys. Like Sandy Bodecker, who's probably one of the most genius guys I've ever met. We all kind of came up together in that time, and like those guys are pillars in the company. And it's it's amazing. But the thing that's amazing about what Nike did. So if you look at back then, in 2001, action sports was about $16 billion through the cash register. Do you know how much Nike participated in action sports?
Zero.
Donut. Zero. They never had any traction in action sports. They had, Aquasoc, they had all those different things. And then they bought Hurley. And, there was quite a bit of backlash for us. Like people were like, oh, you guys sold out, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And I always say there's a fine line between selling out and buying in. So it's like.
The hardest thing is becoming successful because people will always accuse you of selling out.
I managed bands for years, and I would tell every band, I go, you start in your garage and 10 of your friends like you. As soon as you get the 100 fans, those 10 hate you. As soon as you get 1,000 fans, there's 100. It's a 10% ratio, always around them. It's no matter what you do. I guarantee people are, oh, Mark Bell, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, there's things that like if I posted stuff, a couple years ago, that people would be super pumped, but now I post it and they just think I'm an asshole.
Yeah, and we've become that. I think Jerry Seinfeld put it the best is we've become a society of pussies, right? You know what I mean? It's like comedy was about making fun of people. It was being able to
ripping people apart.
Yeah, and it's like now it's so PC. Like you can't say anything like that's gonna offend anybody.
Mark Bell's PowerCast is sponsored by Health IQ, an insurance company that helps weightlifters get special life insurance rates. They're also the official life insurance partner of USA Weightlifting. To see if you qualify, go to healthiq.com/PowerCast today. So what makes Health IQ so unique? They use science and data to secure lower rates on life insurance for weightlifters and strength trainers. Historically, you get penalized by life insurance companies for BMI, family history, and other attributes, but you don't get rewarded when you live a health-conscious lifestyle. 56% of Health IQ customers save between 4 and 33% on their life insurance, which is crazy. That's actually a lot.
I wish you could get insurance on like your pecs and stuff. You know, like I blew out my pec like 3 times. So, can we do that?
What I'd like,
will they have stuff like that?
What I'd like to have had when I was competing was lift insurance. That's just one letter off.
What about deadlift insurance?
Deadlift insurance. I could have used some of that. You really need that because, going into a deadlift in a meet, you're beat, right? You're tired. You need all of the pre-workout stimulants you can possibly get.
And it kills you.
And it kills you. Absolutely. So to see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/PowerCast or mention the promo code PowerCast when you talk to a Health IQ agent. Just a word from our sponsor, Precision Nutrition. In the past few years, I bet you've heard or thought at least one of the following. This is for questions for our audience. Carbs spike your blood sugar and insulin, which prevents fat loss and causes fat gain. Carbs, especially sugar and grains, cause inflammation, and carbs are not an essential part of a healthy diet like fat and protein are. Have you heard those things? Have you thought those things?
It's a real guessing game out there. You don't know what's true all the time. And I think a lot of us could use some help. And even in talking to you about your diet, we're on vastly different diets.
Yeah.
Our diets are quite a bit different. I'm not someone that really tracks stuff and really pays attention to the exact macronutrient breakdown. Meanwhile, you're following something that's totally different.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do that, yeah.
And you've lost some weight.
Yep.
And I'm following something totally different from you, and I've lost some weight. And it's really just a matter of finding something that's going to work for you. And I think you just hear that over and over again. It sounds very cliche, but I think it's very true. If you can find something and you can start to break some bad habits, then you can really start to get back on the right track. And something like Precision Nutrition is going to help lead you down the right path.
Yep. All of this seems obviously very simple if you just make it all black and white.
Right.
And what you're pointing out is the fact that it's really not black and white. Simplistic ideas about good food and bad food ignore biological complexity and the bigger picture of the whole diet scene. That's why our sponsor, Precision Nutrition, created a brand new free course for PowerCast listeners to dig into the science behind low carb and ketogenic diets. Visit get.pn/PowerCast and get access to the free course, which covers what the research tells us about low carb and ketogenic diets, how to know if low carb, keto, or something else is right for you or your clients, the difference between paleo style diets and low carb diets, which ways of eating are the most effective for health and body change, a step-by-step guide to finding the right way of eating for you or your clients, and much more. Not only will the course give you a deeper understanding of these topics for yourself, but when friends, family, clients, and colleagues come to you for advice, rest assured that you'll have the science-based, client-tested answers that they need. People ask us questions all the time, and we know what we know. But do we always know the science behind it? And can we always answer those questions in a way that's tailored to that person's particular needs?
Principle of awareness. It's a key component to anything. To gain further knowledge and to know why you're doing something is extremely important. The other thing is, have you been stuck losing weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
And I have a very conscious effort towards losing weight. I'm exercising more. You figure out ways to eat less or to work your way out of some bad habits and things like that. And the only thing that's been successful for people that I've worked with personally have been people that continue to interact with me. And those are the people, because you really do need somebody. You think you can do it on your own, but it's very difficult. You kind of need someone to lead you to it. And so I think with precision nutrition, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a group of people that care and a group of people that are going to lead you to the right thing.
Trust me when I say this is some of PN's best work over the last decade. They've helped nearly 100,000 clients get their own eating on track and nearly 50,000 professionals stay on the cutting edge of the industry. Consultants to companies like Apple, Equinox, UFC, and Titleist, athletes like the newest U.S. Open champion Sloane Stephens. They're doing amazing work, and you need to check it out. So if you want to understand the science behind the low-carb diet trend and the best way of eating for you or a client, grab the free course at get.pn/PowerCast. That's get.pn/PowerCast. Check it out, guys.
Check it out.
I don't like homogenized things. Like when I come in here, it's raw. Like when I first got into CrossFit, it was raw, right? But then you have to realize once it becomes a business, it can't be that raw. And that's the stuff I learned from working at Nike. Nike's raw. Dude, those dudes are raw dudes. Like Phil Knight, he's no joke. He's a raw dude. Those guys are real dudes. I mean, you don't run a $30 billion company and not be raw and make gnarly decisions. And
it's great that he's been so connected to it.
Yeah,
a lot of times those companies get big and then the owner's not connected.
Yeah, and it was, I think for him when Mark and those guys down, I think it was when his son got in the car crash in Chile and passed away. Mm-hmm. And it was like you look at those aspects of what they do, and that's where I go back to is like with action sports being $16 billion. Nike looked at us and went, we don't play in that space. And when they purchased, I think they're about $20 billion. And they go, we're $20 billion. I think that was like every household spends 25 cents on Nike. It's like the way it breaks out in numbers wise, you just kind of go like this many households spend this much money. Like it does.
Where did they play? Like where did they, you got to kind of pay to play. Where did they play?
Who's that?
Nike.
Oh, in action sports?
Just period. Like
they were there. Nike. The funny thing about Nike is
they spend their money, I guess, is my point.
They spend their money guerrilla marketing stuff at the highest level. Do you know there's no sponsors for the Olympics? Can't be, but Nike sponsors the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to have a sponsor. It's an amateur event. You're not supposed to have sponsors.
Right.
So they've come in and figured like I've seen those guys come in and go, hey, this World Cup's happening over here. We're going to buy the city. We're going to buy the city. We're going to take over the city. We're going to take over Barcelona and like own the city. I'm like, what does something like that cost? And there's numbers of there's like it doesn't matter. Like it's a couple $100 million. Like we're going to own it. But the ROI on that couple $100 million is insanity.
Yeah.
It's like the golf story with Tiger Woods when everyone's making their pitch, and Phil goes, everyone makes their pitch on every athlete they should get. Phil goes like this. So that everyone's pitch? Yeah. So that's the best athletes in the world. Yep. Oh, you guys are all wrong. Everyone's like, what do you mean we're all wrong? Best athlete in the world is Tiger Woods. Well, Nike doesn't do golf. He goes, doesn't matter. Nike signs the best athletes in the world, and we're going to sign Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it's just like that. That to me, that's more punk rock than anything ever. And look at it now. Nike's one of the biggest golf brands out there. Right? Action sports, Nike now, the biggest is one of between Converse, Hurley, and Nike, well over $1 billion in the space in action sports when they had zero.
Well, to follow up what you're saying, going back to 2001, if you think about it, there was a lot of economic upheaval. And they made a huge investment to work with Hurley at a time when a lot of people were just holding on to their money and trying to, see what the hell was going to happen.
Opportunity and chaos.
Yeah.
It's like opportunity and chaos. Like so many people.
And it's not like they bought at a discount either.
No, and you can't save your way to success.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell how many times Bob Hurley and I were when shit was hitting the fan and we just pushed our chips in and go, let's go. Let's go. Right. You know what I mean? That's like down at Gabe Seabridge's gym. A lot of people he just pushed his chips in. That gym's awesome, man. It's sick, but like now he has high school programs in there. He's doing so much rad shit,
Yeah. You have to.
You have to. He's like
like you said, your company started big and it had to be big.
Yeah, you have to be big. You have to feed the animal, and for me now with like Progenex, people are like, oh, I don't want. Like people trip out. They think we're some big giant corporation. We're not.
So you have a long-term affiliation with Nike. This guy right here, Vincent Edward Jackson, a.k.a. Bo Jackson, was a big part of Nike.
Yep.
We have been trying to get this guy on the podcast. You have any connections to fucking Bo Jackson? Anybody listening, you have any connections?
But
We've been trying to get a hold of Bo Jackson.
I can call Sandy and see if he can do it.
Jesus, man.
I see. The funny thing about me
That guy's a beast.
is I don't watch football, and I don't watch basketball. And like we have basketball players. He's the first person to ever take Progenex, Lou Aldain. We just did a whole thing with him. Unbelievable, highest paid Laker out there right now. One of the sweetest guys in the world. And the reason I have a great relationship with all of our football players and our basketball players is because I don't watch their sport.
Okay, I get it.
I don't watch their sport. I don't know. Like I was on a flight. I was sitting.
Oh, you get to just have a normal conversation.
Yeah,
with him.
it was funny. I was on.
You
I
might
was on a
strike
flight
up a conversation about whatever rather
from
than
New York, and I
sport.
sat next to Warren Moon. I had no idea who he was. We sat next to each other. We were both. I was coming back from Europe. He was coming back from some vacation. We were just chatting. Just sat there and talked.
You didn't have to fake treating him normal.
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Right? And at the very end,
I don't think anybody's ever thrown a football better than fucking Warren Moon.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
That was fucking crazy.
I don't know that. So I was like, hey, and I shook his hand. It was nice meeting you. Good luck. Well, we never talked about family, talked about vacation. Never once brought up football. And then I walked off the plane, and I was waiting for my friends, and they're like, oh, dude, you sat next to Warren Moon. I'm like, dude, how'd you guys know that guy's name? Like, how'd you know him? He goes, that's Warren Moon. I go, I have no idea who that is.
He probably loved just having a conversation.
Yeah, it's fun like that. Like,
Yo, man, when you threw that touchdown pass, like he probably hears that all the time.
think about the first time I met you. I had no idea who you were.
Yeah,
We still don't know.
that's true.
No, but it was rad. Like I had no I
Paul actually for 2 hours straight just talked about himself. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. It was hard. I couldn't even breathe. It's like,
no, that's not true. No, but it's interesting for me with Mark is he's got it's after knowing and getting to know you and your passion. It's like your passion for
we
what
had a lot
you're,
of fun. That was,
your passion for what you're doing, and we're there for a specific reason. We were there to celebrate life.
Yeah.
Right? And celebrate a life of a small child going through leukemia. And through a very close friend of ours who's like, I love Jason Kliepa to death. Like, he's like a brother to me. And like, I always use him.
We love him too. He's amazing.
we do.
Like, he's so much fun to be around.
And it's just like, I've been mentoring Jason in business since I got in CrossFit. And the first thing Jason said to me is he walked up to me and he goes, dude, you dress funny. That's the first thing he said to me. You dress funny. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, hey, you're not afraid to say it as it is.
Jason is so focused that when you do anything outside of like what he can comprehend, then he's really rattled.
Oh,
He gets to be. He gets that weird look in his eyes.
What?
Yeah, he's like really confused.
You know what the thing about Jason is he really wants people to like him.
Right.
He wants to be liked.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, I don't give a fuck whether you like me or not. At the end of the day, it's like at the end of the day, I have my, but I'll never forget when I got married, and this was a big challenge with my brothers. I went to my parents. I go, here's your house. When I moved out, I go, here's your key. Here's this. I don't live here anymore. I would call and go, hey, can I come over? Because I made my own life. Like people just like that's how you run. Like my family is my family. Like if my brother comes at me wrong against my family, my brother's not my brother anymore. Because I made the choice in my life that this is my family, right? You can be part of it. That was the same thing with my dad. My last conversation with my dad was like, hey, you can't pick up my kids drunk anymore. You can't do these things. If you want to be part of my family, these are the rules. You know what he said? Fuck your rules. And I went, cool. That was the last conversation I ever had with my dad.
It's funny you should say that because you were talking earlier about big Hispanic families taking care of each other and all that business. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. His mother-in-law is like suddenly an alcoholic. She's in her 60s, and suddenly everybody knows she's an alcoholic. Maybe she's always been an alcoholic. Maybe it happened because she had some brain surgery a while back, and something clicked, whatever. But they keep finding her down drunk different places, and it's freaking his wife out because it's her mom and all that stuff, and I was like, having been through stuff with my sister, went through stuff with your brother. It's like at some point you have to say, this is affecting my family. This is affecting my nuclear family, and I can't actually do anything about it. And often you can't even affect it. And sadly, there are so many like anecdotes out there of that one family member that said the one thing at the right time or picked him up off the floor or whatever. And that will always drive your guilt about it. But it doesn't mean that you're making the wrong decision by taking care of your own family first.
But you have to look at and this is what I've had struggles. My son's the most awesome person in the world, but my son was the gnarliest person in the world. He's like that wrestling kid, like, oh, you want to throw? I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, I don't care.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds
like
good.
a good time.
You picked the right guy. And so for us, like my wife would struggle. She goes, God, we're such bad parents. And I go, every kid I talk to, any person I talk to, there's one thing in this world you're born with. That's it, one thing. And it's called free will. And that's what I always try to get people in touch with. Your free will. What are you going to do with it? You're going to use it for good? You're going to use it for evil? Yeah, it's the only thing you have. You have free will. That's it. That's the one thing you're born with, free will. And people don't ever realize, like, your free will is like, when they go, oh, well, you should have done this with him. I'm like, I don't control his free will. The minute he walks out the door, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He can have all the upbringing. Do you think Jeffrey Dahmer's parents thought he was going to start eating people?
Right.
You know what I mean? You just
Stop that. Stop that.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
eat
like,
people anymore.
you don't know. Like,
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's
Yeah, he
free.
wasn't taught that.
Yeah, it's
Wasn't
free will.
trained.
So you go back to, it's like, once that starts to impede or make you lose track, to your point, like, nobody ever gets to the top until they hit the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? I can't tell you, like, if my wife was standing around here, what was the first time it was like when you went to Paul's house? Well, his brother robbed me. I came home and she goes, all my money and my credit cards are out of my wallet. All right, I'll get them for you. So who took them? I'm like, probably my brother. My brother was the worst. Awesome now. Been sober 30 years. But back then, it was like, and then my wife was like, went through the whole thing like, oh, I'm going to go to this, I'm going to go to that. I'm all, she goes, how come you don't go? I'm all, I can't control his free will.
Yeah.
Like he's going to make he can look at me every day. He's looked at me every day. He's going to make the decision on his own. He's going to make the decision one day to wake up and go, I'm going to be sober or I'm going to be a pile of shit. You can say anything you want to anybody.
Yeah.
Anything. They have to decide within themselves to go, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Is it still worth it to try to help them?
At a point. At a certain point, it's not. Like, we have an event we do called the Ultimate Hawaiian Trail Run in Hawaii. It happens every September 16th, and the kid not the kid, he's a grown man, Aaron Hoff. That's a guy you should have on your podcast. You want to hear crazy stories. That guy was crazy. Like, when he got sober, he went around making men's, and he made men's that put him in jail. He would walk up and go, hey, I'm the one who did this. And he'd go to the police and go, I did this. And they'd handcuff him and put him in jail. And he made amends. He owned up to everything. Jeez. And he's so crazy, and every once in a while he's all, I'll be with him. He's like, oh, I'm all, what's wrong? He's all, I got to go make amends with that guy. I robbed him at one point. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? I'm with you right now. I don't want to be part of that. He's like, dude, I got to handle it right now. But like his whole thing, like we have Ultimate Hawaiian Trail Run is about creating safe havens for kids in Hawaii, right? So he had a kid who was living at the house the other day, and she lied. He said, hey, I know you were out. And he said, no, I didn't. You weren't. And he goes, you got to move out. She's like, he goes, you lied. There's no lying. You're living here. Go live back in the dump with your parents. But you can't live here because I can't have your free will of lying get away and bring all these other kids down. So you have to go, right? And then she can earn her way back. But at the end of the day, it's like coddling. Like my wife hates when I say this, but 18s check out at my house.
Yeah.
It's my son. He's 25 now. I went through hell with him. Hell. But he's my best friend. I love that kid to death. And he's so spot on. He came home one time and he did stuff and he had a broken leg and everything else. I'm like, you're doing drugs in the house. Out. Pouring rain. My wife's like, oh, dude, you can't. I'm like, he's out.
Yeah.
He's out. I don't care.
Sometimes when it comes to things like that too, there's never a good time for it. So it's like it doesn't matter if it's fucking raining out, snowing out, or otherwise.
Doesn't matter.
It's like it's not a fun thing to go through.
No,
but
and it was like
necessary sometimes.
My wife was so adamant. I got him a hotel room for one night that night. And I said, you're on your own. the last, not this house, the house before, we built a house. He worked construction building that house and never got to live in it.
Wow.
But if you met my son, he's awesome. But there was times like, and if you met my people, go, God, your son's awesome. He's the nicest kid ever. I'm all, you don't live with him. Right? So it's like, I go back to, it's like, it's free will. How do you manage people free will, and how much do you let it take advantage of your time?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing to me, like getting into where I'm at today. Like, so Nike, that all went good. They're massive. I love Nike. I think it's a great brand. But
when you worked for Nike, were you working kind of like for the Hurley department within Nike?
My job was managing Nike. I worked kind of overseeing all the 3 brands, Converse, SB, like from an events point of view.
Gotcha.
So I ran all the events. So I ran all our big global events. So Australia, Brazil, everything else. When I was at Hurley, I ran international. I set up all our offices globally. And this whole time I had a management company in music. And that's a whole, like, I can go in entertainment for days.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different side of my life of being involved in entertainment. Actually, I have a meeting with Stephen Marley on Friday because they're bringing Kaya Fest to California. They just did it. And all the Marley brothers got back together. They want to bring it here.
Wow.
So it was fun. I'll be with Steven on Friday. Me and my old business partner, John Reese. That's the guy shoveling our tea. He's crazy. Used to be the manager for Guns N' Roses.
Oh, cool.
Crazy stories. Like that kind of, and he's a big, crazy dude. Finger missing right here, got a bit off. Gnarly.
Bit off?
Bit off. Bit off.
By another person, not a
and
dog.
He tore the guy who bit he went to fish hook the guy. And he was in there, and the guy was biting his finger, so he took and ripped the guy's nose off his face, and the guy took his finger off.
Ouch.
That's John. He's awesome. You'd love him. He's massive. He's that guy he's like the guy who yesterday would have just jumped in and moved weight. He's
He'd
huge.
have been like, hey, sure.
Yeah, he's an animal. He's the best. I love him.
So you mentioned having some of these kind of long-term relationships that led to some big things. You know, the guys wearing the stuff on MTV and stuff like that. How have you built those kind of relationships? Any special strategies? Are you just being or just being transparent?
Just being transparent. Like Rick DeVoe, we used to have a company called Big Dummy Productions, and it started with him. And back in the day, there was these movies Taylor Steele made, and they were surf movies. And Brett Gurwitz, who owns Epitaph Records, back in the day, we would make these surf movies, and Brett would give us all the punk rock bands. So we had Pennywise, Offspring, Bad Religion, Rancid, all these different kinds of bands that would play within on our videos. And then we started to learn every band. And then I knew the guys from Sublime, and just kind of we were putting out on the entertainment world. Like, the bottom line is the surf industry never made any money. Mm-hmm. It was an aspect of like, I work in the surf industry and I get a surf, and I could barely pay the bills. So I would put my kids to bed at 9 o'clock at night and then work till 3 a.m. and get up the next morning. I lived 20 years without sleeping.
And that's what made that decision by Billabong so fucked up when they were saying that.
Yeah,
don't
because
put it on the
these
cover
were
of Rolling
relationships that were these were my friends.
Yeah.
Like Mike D's my friend from like the Beastie Boys. We're friends. Like, and he just basically told me my friend's a pile. Like, screw you, dude. Really?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so those are things. So those kind of set the paradigm of what was going on and doing the fun stuff and like the music aspect. To me, music is the catalyst of any conversation. Like, I don't care who you are, but the only time I can't talk to somebody is when I go, what do you listen to? They go, stuff. Like, do you listen to rap? Do you listen to country? Like, what's your jam? No, I don't know. I'm just like, dude, really? I can't talk to this guy. But everyone can find a common ground in music, right?
Yeah.
It's just music is the common ground. So it was fun doing that kind of stuff.
Why do you think like fashion? It's really weird. Like when you look at actual surfing, like I just don't even have any clue on like the numbers, but access to the beach, access to a surfboard, access to just like actually surfing. There can't be that many fucking people surfing. I do understand there's a lot, but in terms of the grand population of the world, there's probably not that many people that are actually surfing or that are actually even not into it. So how does fashion spawn from surfing?
Well, I'm going to help you rethink that statement. Do you like the beach?
Yeah, sort of.
Do you like the water? Do you like to go to the beach?
Yeah.
Do you like to go to the pool? So
not really. I don't enjoy any of that much.
So you don't like water.
I like going in a hot tub.
He doesn't like the sun.
Yeah. So at the end of the day,
Yeah, I want it to burn out.
The thing that happened, if you look at true surfing culture was, and it goes back to everything. Let's say in the 50s you had Gidget and you had all this things, and it became this lifestyle. Everybody wants to be a pirate, right?
Gotcha.
Like being a pirate's awesome. Surfers are pirates. And it's like you live this lifestyle as they see this. You don't go to school. You don't do this. You have this free, willy-nilly lifestyle of just like living on the beach and traveling the world. And there's hot chicks and all this kind of stuff. And so it becomes a fascination with the lifestyle, right? So to people,
It's kind of a travel hobo without a
the
train.
perfect example is the brand that the surf industry fought wholeheartedly. And Bob and I are like, this is the coolest thing ever. So have you ever heard of the brand Hollister?
Yeah.
So Hollister, you probably don't know this, the best surf spot in the world that you can't get to is the Hollister Ranch. It's private. It's a ranch. Super extremely wealthy people live there. And the only way you can get to go surfing there is by boat. You got to drop your boat in the water at Goleta and then drive the boat out there. And it's a bit of an expedition to get there. But it's Hollister. Everyone knows, like, Coho, rights and lefts and rights, like all these famous spots are in this zone that are private. And it's Hollister Ranch. So Hollister made a deal with Hollister Ranch to get the name Hollister. They're Abercrombie and Fitch. And you know what they did? They made surfing accessible to Middle America. Hollister is bigger than Quicksilver, is bigger than Hurley, is bigger than all the brands. You know why? Because they took that lifestyle of like, hey, it's beach, it's fun, it's like vacation lifestyle, and they made it accessible to the world.
Right.
And that's the challenge. Is like you have, and that was what Bob and I, we had success with Hurley's because our whole thing was our mantra was freedom of choice, microphone for youth. We wanted to be the microphone for youth. We wanted, whether you liked us or not, you had a voice. We gave you a voice. You could say whatever you want. We didn't care. Like some people hate us, some people love us. We wanted to give kids a voice because at that time, kids today, they don't need any of us. They're their own TV channel. They're their own identity. They're their own everything. They it's all at their fingertips. Like I trip out. I see kids. I'm like, they're so technically savvy. Like Ben Alderman's 3-year-old took my phone, opened it, and was playing games on it. She's 3. How the hell I can barely open my phone? Yeah. Right? So it's like, so you look at that evolution of that lifestyle and that surf culture. Now, in turn, the surf industry is not doing very well. Do you know why they're not doing very well? Because they gave up the beach. They stopped focusing on the kids on the beach and they started focusing on these high cloud athletes, and they're going to the Olympics and they're going all that stuff. So there's kids who bought into brands and bought into cultural awareness.
They lost some of their authenticity.
They lost their authenticity.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so now you have a brand like Hollister. It's like, it's successful. Like I love to pick on the people who are Lululemon, right? Because at the end of the day, Lululemon's a women's clothing brand, right? For yoga. And for me, I'm like that old school guy. And I just go, yeah, I'm kind of probably not that big on wearing a girl's clothing brand. It's really comfortable. And there's one reason why that I have that feeling. I walked into Lululemon, dressed how I always dress, and they looked at me like I was going to rob the store. And they were very uninviting to me. Like,
well, they were correct.
Well,
the old Paul Gomez might have.
No, but it was like, to me, it was like, I just looked at it and went, wow, really? You just judge the book by the cover.
Yeah.
Like I heard good stuff about you guys. No, I don't like you. And I'll never support you.
Sir, please don't rob us.
Should I go to my gun?
They should have just said that, right? Like,
yeah, I would feel like if they just said, "Oh, you dress right," like, whatever. But there's just certain things like when I went to go buy my wife when we sold our first company, I went to go buy my wife a really nice car, right? And so my friend knew Fletcher Jones, who owns Fletcher Jones Mercedes-Benz in Newport Beach, right? So he's like, "Hey, go talk to Fletcher Jones." I'm like, "Okay." So me and like a few of the other guys from the company were like going down there, and we look the way we look, and we walk on the dealership, and I'm walking on the dealership, and I'm going to buy my wife an S55. I'm going to buy her like the killerest Mercedes I can possibly buy. I'm gonna do it. I'm everything they tell you not to do when you get money, you do it. I don't care who you are, you do it. You make it stupid. So I walk on there, and right when I'm walking on, it's me and my friend Dean, and we walk in there, and the guy goes, "This guy," I'm walking over this, and the sales guy walks up to me and goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" "We're looking for cars." He goes, "Well, the C-classes are over there." That's what he said to me. C-classes are with them. I'm like, cool. Right on. What's your name? Oh, I'm so-and-so. I'm all right. I'm all, hey, tell Fletcher Jones that Paul Gomez came by and I'm not buying a fucking car from your dealership. I turned around and left. And as I was driving away, Fletcher's calling me on my cell phone. I'm like, dude, screw your guys. Screw your, like, the way you just treated me and my friends. Right. And we all drove down the street to Mission Viejo and seriously bought $1 million worth of cars. I'm not shitting you. Like, there were 7 of us that bought, all of us bought cars that were $150,000.
Holy shit.
And they walked in, the guys were like, oh, hey, what's going on? Boom. And they sold us all 5 Series Mercedes-Benz.
It's funny. I just started flashing, like, can you imagine if Gary Vee had the Lululemon experience?
Oh, yeah.
Like, your face was making the same kind of face that he would make. Like, there's such a mistake going on here in terms of branding, in terms of customer service, in terms of sales and stuff, that he would have exploded.
Yeah, there's a story about Shaquille O'Neal, too. He went and he was going to buy a car, and, it was an older guy, probably 65, white dude, and he was like, oh, I don't think we have anything here for you. And Shaq was like, okay, but he still, like, bought a car because he's just like, look, you know what, I can't. That guy's just probably racist. He probably doesn't for some reason doesn't know who I am, Yeah. And so he was just like, fuck it. He just got a different sales rep and still bought a car.
My wife gets mad at me because I always say I'm not racist. I hate everybody.
Equal opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just racism to me is every race has a race has a person in their race that makes you a racist.
Yeah. Right.
It's just there's good and bad in every race. So it's like
there's always going to be an attraction to people that are like from your background a little bit. Like even just walking around with my kids when they were really young, when they're 3 or 4, they just stop in awe and they see another kid and they're like, that fucking person's like me. Like they're little like me. And I think that's normal. You see someone else that's white, you see someone else that's black, and I think it's not that that's racist or anything, but I think there's nothing wrong with associating with people that look similar to you. I think that's just the way things are.
Have you seen Blast
You're more comfortable.
Have you seen Blast from the Past?
I don't think so, no.
So Blast from the Past with Alicia Silverstone and
Brendan Fraser.
So his parents think that there's going to be a world war,
right?
And they in turn
sounds amazing.
It's amazing, and in turn they go in their little war shelter, and a plane crashes onto their war shelter. And they think it's the end of the world. So for 30 years they're underground, right? So then he pops up and he goes, I'm going to go outside and look, and they're like, oh, there's aliens, whatever. And then Brendan Fraser's walking, and the mail lady walks, and he goes, look, a Negro. Remember that? He's all. And the lady's like, whoa, but it's like,
huh?
Like you have to look at that's going back to PC and political correctness. Like when your kids are little kids, they go, look, mommy, a black person.
Right.
Hey, why are you so fat?
Right.
Right? There is no filter, right?
Yeah.
They're just calling it how they see it.
Did you eat too much food? Why are you so fat?
Yeah, like, well, mommy, that person smells. Like, it's just, there's no filter, right?
Yeah.
We've filtered the world. Right, so that now it's like I think the filter that we put on the world has created the hatred that we have within the world because we can't talk to each other.
Yeah,
it's really sad. It's unbearable to me.
It halts creativity a lot of times too. Like children, they have these brilliant ideas and these brilliant minds, and somewhere along the line, somebody tells them that that's not right, or that's not good, or that's not the way that we do things.
Yeah, and that's for me. It was like I had to forge my own way. Like if we were when you had the script up there, I seriously got super intimidated because if you wanted me to read something right now, you would see how dumb I really. I literally, it's really hard for me to read.
Yeah, we don't have a script, so you don't have to worry about it.
So that being said, it's like I just think it's like how do you make the world less homogenized? That's why when I came in here today, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is, for me, that was like walking in a lowrider car garage or walking into my friend who has Highway LA. He builds custom choppers. It was like, you see that rawness.
That's cool. You're somebody that gets it because we've had, it hasn't been that many other people. We've had a few people that come in that have compared it to just other things. And that's what I tell people all the time. It's like, it looks like weights, but it could be fucking anything.
I didn't see weights. See, when I walked in, I didn't see weights. I saw raw culture.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this. There's a grit to it. You know what I mean? And for you, what you're doing, like, I think like I look at fitness and I always share this with people when I see fitness is like there's powerlifting's. It can never not be raw. right? And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it kind of has to be.
It kind of has. It's kind of like big wave surfing. Big wave surfing. Those guys are animals.
It's going to be intense.
Yeah, they're
going to be fucking
They're
hard.
raw dudes. Like they're like there's.
It's never going to be figure skating. It's never going to be high dives. It's never going to be any of those things that aren't
You
ugly
also can't,
at any point. I
that's
guess.
true. Yeah, you can't kind of sort of do it.
No,
it's
yeah.
like you've either done it or you didn't do it.
But if you look at aspects of people who captured the counterculture of what you do, and have been able to integrate it into what their fitness programming is, it changes a lot of people's lives. And I think if you look at like CrossFit methodology, like to me, Greg Glassman, like people like to go, oh, well, Greg Glassman doesn't work out, or he doesn't do this, do that. I go, you know what? I can't play a fucking guitar, but I can tell you I've made some pretty damn good records in my life. You know what I mean? Because I can pick up what I'm looking for. He looked at the methodology and everything else, and he created this genius. Like there's powerlifting, there's Olympic lifting, he's always doing these other things. So when I look at the methodology of what he's doing, that's why it gains so much traction, because you're generally not going to get bored with it because it's changing every day, right? But then you have then as it starts to grow, then you have people coming in and putting their own messaging on top of it, and then it starts to shit the bed.
Right.
You know, and that's where I just look at it and go, for us, it's just like, hey, my whole thing is like 5 years ago, I knew nothing about supplements. I knew nothing about fitness, and I didn't give a rat's ass, because most of these guys, like, I'll go swim down 70 feet and lay on the bottom of the ocean and try and kill 300-pound fish, right? That's fucking gnarly. Mm-hmm. And more people die free diving than any other sport in the world. Shallow water blackout kills. We had a friend die 2 weeks ago.
Jeez.
You know, it's like if you want to read a crazy book, it's called The Lost of the Blue Water Hunters, and it's like these guys would sit 20 feet down on the surface, and their friends would go wait on the bottom, and they'd black out 20 feet down. Their friend would bring them to the surface and slap them back into shape and get them away, and then he'd go, "Okay, you cool? Okay, I'm going to go down now. Save me if I die." Like that's next level crazy, right? So you look at those aspects, and going back to what I was saying with you, like I always look at like the aspects of the rawness and the culture behind it and everything else. But when you're getting into that fitness space, and like 5 years ago when I got in the supplement space, I never thought I'd be in the supplement space. It's not what I thought. And then as I've progressed into it, it's like I'll never forget my first event I went to, and the guys who aren't part of our company anymore, and there's good reason why, I walked up and they're like, "Oh, dude, that brand sucks, and this brand sucks, and that brand sucks, or these supplements suck, or this is bad." And I'm like, "Well, hey, come here." I'm like, "What's up?" I go, "Next time you say somebody sucks, I'm going to punch you in your mouth and send you packing." And he's like, "Well, why?" And I'm like, "If we can't talk about what we're good at, we don't need to be here. If I have to say somebody else is bad to make me look good, then I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing." Mm-hmm. Right? Right. It's just like, let's talk about what we do that's good. And like I never took supplements, and the first time I took our products, you know why I take it? It fucking tastes good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just tastes good. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, "Oh, well, it has these BCAAs and this and that and blah, 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 whatever." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't give a shit. It works and it tastes good." And they're like, "Oh, well," and then you get armchair scientists who start telling you all this stuff. And like, it's got to be this. I hate grass-fed beef. It tastes like I'm going to eat corn-fed beef because it tastes good, right? Right. It's just like, "Oh, well, it's grass-fed." And then you do the study on grass-fed. What is grass-fed? It's like a certain amount of months they have to grass-feed sick cows. Right?
Nobody really knows is the problem. And when it comes
not a standard definition, really.
Like let's just take something that people have said for years is healthy for you, like vitamin C. Like, is it really? And what is the marker of health? What are we talking about? Like, what are we looking for? You know, and it's very.
We can only look at one thing at a time with it too.
Yeah, and it's just like everybody was soy, and then all of a sudden soy is bad for you. Right. Yeah. Like I just look at like anything that you're doing, like to me, and especially in fitness. And it was fun for me. Like I had this epiphany the other day, and it was like, you know, we have a lot of great athletes in our program, and I love our CEO, but we're in constant litigation with people who hate us or this, that, and the other. And I've had numerous battles with people, and like we're no longer a sponsor of the. I love CrossFit. I love Ben Smith, Kristen. I want to facilitate my athlete streams, but I'm not going to give people money to talk shit on me. Right. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not here to kiss anybody's ring. Like, you don't know me. Right. You could walk up to me and tell me my wife's name. Tell me my kids' names. So you think you have an opinion that's over mine? I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Right? You know, it's just like, and that's the whole thing is like, I look at what Greg Glassman's been able to do. It changed a generation. Literally.
Absolutely, yeah.
It did. It's amazing. But I look at what you've been able to do, you're changing a generation. You're seeing these young powerlifters. Like when I went to Barbell Brigade, I met so many, like that one kid, like he's gnarly, and Jacob's
Adam Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's all this is Adam.
He's
our
my
boy
favorite.
Hulk Smash. We love him, man.
Dude, and he was such a cool kid. And like he doesn't
talk about being raw.
Yeah, and the dude was just
Loves lifting heavyweight.
Yeah, just
loves
raw,
it.
there's this raw intensity behind it.
Have you seen him squat?
No, I wasn't like. See, to me, it's like
it's a beautiful thing to see him lift. He's really he's really strong, but it's really technical too when you're watching him lift. He just does it perfectly. You're like, holy shit!
He squats in a crazy wide stance for a raw power lifter.
Just really upright, and he'll have 700 pounds on his back, and he won't flinch or move the wrong way at all. You're like, holy fuck!
But
some crazy strength.
When he started getting into powerlifting, he watched our old videos, and we had people squatting in gear. In powerlifting equipment, and so you have to squat in a wider stance because you can't get down otherwise. And so he just thought that's how it was supposed to be. And so he squats. He got one of
his
the widest,
double the width of his shoulder width, which his shoulders are really wide. You know, it's crazy.
he's not a small human.
No, he is
Crazy
not a small
watching
human.
guy.
Yeah, but like you walk in, there's all these incredible aspects of people who lend something to what's going on, and you have to look at like how you're going to tell the story. It's like, so the other day I was like, we have these great athletes, we have these other things, and I was kind of like, you know, it's who are we as? And for me, I don't consider ourselves a supplement company. I consider ourselves a brand. And people look and they go, oh, Progenex, like people wear your shirts, like you're. And I go, I never want to be a supplement. Supplements are a race to the bottom, right? Who can make it cheaper? Who can say it's this? Who can do that? And I'm like, I want to be a brand. So when I started first talking to these guys, like our scientists and stuff, I'm like, well, what about this? Oh, I can't make that. Well, why can't you make it? I'd be too expensive them all. Dude, Bob Hurley and I flipped the surf industry on their fucking head. Mm-hmm. You know what we did? Board shorts in 1999 were $40. $40. Every short was $40. Everything that was cheaper was $20. We decided we were going to do a 4-way stretch antimicrobial board short. Antimicrobial is like you have your gym clothes and you take it and it's sweaty and you throw it in your bag and you open your bag and you almost puke because it stinks so
You
much.
almost die.
You almost die. So we figured out a way to put antimicrobial in there, which makes your shit not stink. Mm-hmm. Your clothes don't stink.
Right.
So it was like and then we ended up patenting 4-way stretch, and we did those stuff, and we went, okay, we're going to launch this brand. We're going to sell our board shorts for $80. People were like, I was going to buy $80 board shorts. Well, guess what? All board shorts that are performance are $80 now.
Yeah.
If they're good.
You can thank Bob Hurley for that.
Yeah.
It's like, and we patented the 4-way stretch.
Right.
Patented.
If a product is better, people will pay more.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like where you have to look at like, I'm not if I have to dumb it down, or if I don't want to do it. I'm not interested in that. I want shit that tastes good. Right. And it's like, and I'll never forget my first experience like going on the road, and like back then I was probably 60, 70 pounds heavier than I am now. I was the fat kid. I was the fat cholo. You know what I mean? Everyone, like, I remember I went to the first, I told you, I'm like, first CrossFit, I'm like, where's everyone's shirts? There's no beach here. And everyone was like looking like, what's up with this fat Mexican here? You know, and then they kind of realized what my background was, and I was like, oh, then they wanted to talk to me. So it was like, but I looked at that, and I was kind of like, well, what are they doing this? So the other morning, I was walked by, and there's heavy set woman who's in the gym every morning. Our office is in the back of a CrossFit gym. We don't have a groovy office. We're in a warehouse. I took all the storage out of a CrossFit gym and made that my office. I've done the thing where you're gonna, we need Herman Miller chairs, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna have that. It's like, and then so you start to take a crap, you get rid of the people that make you get there, and you keep your shitty, expensive chairs, as opposed to like just get a thank you WWE for all the chairs in my office. Right. You guys rule.
Beautiful padded
right
chair,
there,
yeah,
right there,
no mercy. Yeah.
Right there. It's like, so you look at that, and I walked by this woman, and she was like, she's been in the gym. She's a little bit more heavy set. And I'm like, and she was taking Progenex. And I said, hey, thank you for taking our product. And she goes, honestly? She goes, it just tastes good. And it keeps me from cheating on my diet. And I'm all,
Yeah.
We won.
Yeah, it's like
a win for everybody.
And then I
Win
started
for-
calling people and asking. I was like,
Huge win for her.
yeah, it was a huge win for her. And it's like that's the thing is like you have to look at, am I going to do something that's changing somebody's life? Like, yeah, like we just launched a product. It's launching today. It's called Burn, and it's a fat burning candy. People go, you're in the fitness space. You're launching a pop rock. I'm all, yeah, tastes awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, oh, what does it do? I go, we talked to the scientist guys. I just know it tastes right.
Right.
It's awesome. I get Pop Rocks now to help me burn fat. I love Pop Rocks. Right? So I guess it's from some kind of pepper and delivery mechanisms better comes through your mouth. Like, that's the stuff when I let.
They figured that part out.
Yeah, like
It breaks down and probably
like
gets
if
under
you
your
want to know,
tongue
go
and
read
all
about
that.
it on our website. But at the end of the day, it's like I always go to people and I go back to my first experience walking in a gym. I know nothing about fitness, and I'm with this guy. And he's like, "Dude, we got to be there at 6 a.m." I'm like, 6 a.m. He's like, "That's when the fire breathers are there." And I'm like, so in my head, I'm fire breather 6 a.m. You have really bad breath, right? I have no idea that fire breather means.
You're like, I don't want to come and smell that bad breath.
Yeah, but I had no idea that fire breather means you lift more weight. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know
whatever
any,
it means.
I didn't know any of the terminology or whatever. And he's like, oh, so we go in there, and there's like, he's got raw, gnarly, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then you try to talk to this guy. I'll tell you what, you start looking good, and most of your friends go, dude, you look good. What are you doing? Stuff. What are you taking? Things. Mm-hmm. So where would I get that stuff? I don't know. Just look online. Like dudes don't give up information for nothing, right?
Right.
They just they're like, what? Dude, you look awesome. One of my favorite stories is Matt Chan. This guy walks up to me and goes like this. He goes, dude, how do you look like? He goes, I eat bacon 3 times a day, every day for my life. And the guy saw the guy a week later. He's like, dude, I feel so shitty. And Matt's like, why? And he goes, dude, I've been eating bacon and I feel terrible. And Matt's like, dude, I was kidding. Right? You know what I mean? That's
great.
That's that mentality. So I go to the gym guy and I'm like, so I think we sold 1 bag of protein.
Cool.
So I go to the guy at the gym. I'm like, hey, when are like dudes like me here? Like normal people? He's all 9 o'clock. We call that coffee talk. I'm like, really? And I go to the guy I'm with. He's like, dude, we got to get to the next gym. Like, it's getting late in the morning and all the gnarly guys are going to be there. I'm like, dude, I don't get it. Look, we just sold 1 bag of protein.
All right.
To one guy who was like, oh, I heard about you guys. So he's like, we got to stay here. So 9 o'clock rolls around and it's like, you see moms pull up in their minivans.
Yeah.
The guy is coming in. He's like an executive. He can go to work when he wants, that kind of vibe. And they go in there and they put their work in, right? They're there to train. They're just there for a different style of training. Mm-hmm. Like I train to surf better. That's all I do. I don't do handstand push-ups. I don't do shit that ain't gonna help me surf better. I just don't care. So I'm there, and all of a sudden it's like, the class is over, and we have our little booth set up, and I'm like, oh, hey, would you ladies be interested in trying? Oh, I don't really take supplements. I'm all, well, hey, we'll give it a try. Yeah, it generally tastes bad. And I gave this lady a cup, and she's like, oh my gosh, this tastes Debbie.
Right.
Come here. Oh, Jill, Mary. Oh,
right.
come on.
Yeah.
I think we sold like $1,700 worth of product.
Nice.
By sticking around for.
Sticking around for normal people.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get lost in the translation of like, okay, now we have the good athletes, and the good athletes are asking for this. Like our bars are like the best taste. They're like candy bars.
The athlete situation right now is too oversaturated.
Yeah, and
everyone's got 6 or 7 different brands, and it's like, where do you fit in that?
Yeah,
in that hustle.
It's for us, and it's like we've launched this, and we've got to have the healthy bar. And guess what? We discontinued the healthy bar because you can't. The athletes, as soon as you get there, every one of us is an inner fat kid.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, and so like for us, what we're trying to do, and like what I'm trying to do in anything that I do in life, I just want to push the envelope. If I'm not pushing the envelope, then we shouldn't be doing it. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it. I've worked hard enough in my life to get to where I'm at to not have to do things, right? And same with you. Like I can see, like I go back to, like I walked in here yesterday. I'm like I'm all, this is punk. Like, when you walk in a room and you know something's about ready to pop.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
like,
got here kind of before everything was kicking off. But
you could feel the energy.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was kind of like people know each other, but they'd been working out behind the scenes, and they're like, yeah, he thinks he's got something, but I got something. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're bros, but
yeah, there's a vibe there.
There's a vibe. I'm going to show you up. And there's that raw intensity, and it's like, I just feel like there's so many things that have just been too homogenized these days, and it's just it's a bummer.
I've always kind of said that from the beginning, every workout was kind of a performance. It was like you're watching a TV show or a movie or a live stage show or something like that. And some people have good performances sometimes, and some people they don't have good performances. Yeah. But it's still a performance, and people get up for it the same way they would if they were performing in front of other people, because they kind of are.
I think it boils back to another branding thing. Is like what happened in there. Yes, it was an action sport. It was action sport at the highest level. Like for you, like you're like, oh, dude, you see that guy slam on the skateboard? I'm like, yeah, Jake Brown.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was like old hat. Like, dude, I see people like that slam all the time.
Right.
You know, it's just that just happened to be caught on film.
Right.
Like I'd come in here and go, dude, my God, the freaking brah. Like people don't get to see that. So for you, that's totally raw. For me, that's like,
yeah,
you know, that's X Games.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
Yeah, but when you go watch those guys practice for it before they get on the X Games, you see slams that are just like, holy shit, like that was gnarly.
What I love about powerlifting and even fitness to some extent, but I really love about powerlifting is it's very black and white.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, if your goal is to get better on a surfboard, you can still come in and train, and you could still work towards getting stronger. Getting stronger doesn't have to be your singular focus to the point where you're, you know, maxing out all the time and you're pushing yourself so hard that you're super sore all the time. You don't have to do that, but you can go from, you know, deadlifting 135 pounds to deadlifting 185 pounds to deadlifting 225 pounds. Even if that's just part of your normal fitness routine, it doesn't have to be that you're striving and working so hard every single day just to get stronger.
Yeah,
you know?
I always go back to, it's like one of these things I was talking to Ben Alderman about yesterday is like fitness is a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's 100% a journey, and that's kind of where I look at it. Like, for me, people go, oh, why does Equinox do so well? Or why does this do so well? I'm like, because you know what? When people go on a fitness journey, it changes who they are. It changes the dimension of what they do. So you have a person who comes into a gym that's a little dirtier or whatever else like that, and they're new, and then they all of a sudden they start getting in shape, right? And then they start doing better at their job.
Right.
Their sex life gets better, their car gets better, and all of a sudden they go, I'm a little bit better than the dirty gym these days.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to talk to Jason about, and that's why I have such respect for Jason and what he's been able to do. Is like, well, Jason, your gym has to keep up with people's fitness journeys because you're selling fitness to a high-end clientele.
Right.
You're selling, it's like, and that's where I struggle when people go, you know, I'm 51 years old. I'm not gonna eat your crappy diet you want me to eat. I'm not gonna eat paleo. I'm not gonna do that. I'll integrate things in to help me do better. But like I had one thing where I was going to Coachella, and the guy was working with me on my diet, and he goes, okay, well, did you put your drinks into your thing? And I go, oh yeah. And he goes, well, how many drinks are you gonna have? I'm all 20. He's all, for the weekend? I go, no, for the day. So I think I'll average out about 80 drinks for the weekend. And he's like, dude, you can't do that.
That's like setting a world record.
And he's like, which it's not, but it's like, and he's like, you can't do that. That'll blow your whole macros. I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got your macros right.
It was like last night. We went with the Aldermans. It's like, I try to eat good. I try to eat clean, but it's like, we went to this aioli, that place. If you haven't eaten there.
Yeah.
Have you eaten there?
I've been there before, yeah. It's really good.
God, it's so good.
Yeah.
And we went to this place, and he's like, dude, they have this ice cream sandwich. I'm not kidding. This ice cream sandwich was bigger than that. It was massive, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, they cut it in half, and Steph's all like, I'm just going to eat my half. I'm all, dude, we're doing this. We're gonna have, like,
gonna go.
The train, like, the engine's going, the train's off the tracks, but it's still just, we haven't hit a tree yet. So let's just keep riding this out. And I just went, house it down, and I was like, at that point, Ben's like, I'm all done. I'm all, let's go get candy.
Right,
like
right.
It's like this, you know, that
free for all.
Yeah, every once in a while you just got to cut loose, and I think that's where you see, like, the show Biggest Loser. What, like 95% of them put all their weight back on?
Yeah.
Because it's not reality, right? I've always said, like, what I would love to see somebody start called CEO Couch Potato, right? Where you have a real job, and you have kids, and you travel. And let's see you cut the weight, like, and put the money up for you to cut the weight then, and the money's for a charity,
right?
Because you don't need the money, and let's see who's going to get the fittest then. So then that's real. Like,
Yeah, it makes it way more difficult.
Yeah, it's like I remember being at Nike, and it was just like, I mean, like I used to try and set 11 o'clock meetings for working out. It's just like 10:30 becomes noon, becomes 1, becomes I'm really tired, and then I'm gonna go home, and then I'm gonna have my house up. I'm gonna have a nice steak dinner, and I'm gonna have a drink. Next thing you know, 30 days later,
it's an interesting thing. It's hard to be motivated and inspired, 24/7.
Yeah.
And really, that's kind of what you need when it comes to eating healthy. All the way to the point where sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like hungry. I don't know about you guys, but like sometimes I'll smash ice cream, or like I don't do it anymore, but for years, I just had bad habits. I wouldn't sleep very well because I'd go to sleep probably a little bit too late. I had sleep apnea. I was a lot heavier. And it's hard to be like inspired and motivated all the time. But one thing that has helped me kind of more recently is to kind of think like, okay, like you made an agreement with yourself. How does this help? And so if I can justify how it helps, if I can say, hey, you know what? You've been doing pretty good for like, I don't know, 15, 16, 18 days. This will help by allowing you to not lose your sanity, and you'll get back on track tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so things like that, and just also too, like we all work very hard. You work out very hard, and you have a lot of discipline maybe in your job and a lot of other things. You can carry those things into all aspects of everything that you do. And then even furthermore, it's like if you spent the whole day eating well and, focusing on whatever it is that person's diet is, or you worked out as well, and then at the end of the day, you're like, I'm just going to eat whatever. That's like you kind of just fucked up the whole day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I try to, if I'm going to do stuff like that, it just depends on what it is. If I'm hanging out with some friends and we're doing something together and we go and watch wrestling, and I want to eat like just whatever I want, then I'll just eat whatever I want on that day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'll just kind of set it up so that's the day where that happens.
Yeah, I trip out when like you see you go out to dinner and somebody busts out a scale, or you walk into someone's house and they go, oh, I can't eat that. What, are you vegan? No, it doesn't fit into what I'm eating. Well, what does that mean? Yeah. Like I grew up I hate rice. I ate rice all day long, and my kids laugh at me because I eat bologna sandwiches to this day. Because bologna sandwich was a treat for me as a kid, so it's my comfort food. I look forward to a nice bologna sandwich.
Bologna?
Well, bologna is like Scrabbles.
Yeah,
you know what Scrabbles are? It's the step below Spam.
It's like
it's everything that's been strapped into a can. Yeah, it is.
My grandmother used to make like bologna and cheese, like with some mayo. It was so good.
It's
ridiculous.
so good.
Like, it's fucking great.
It's like to me, like I go, if you don't eat a hot dog, you pretty much aren't American.
Oh yeah, hot dogs are great.
Like how do you have people? You're gonna eat a hot dog? I'm like, get out of my car. Like literally, like what you're telling me you don't like a hot dog, and they go, well, no, it's just bad for you. I'm like, dude, you're bad for me.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hang out with you.
Hey, everything's fucking bad for you. You can drink too much water. You can work out too much. You can fuck too much. You can do everything too much, right?
Everything is bad for you. And that's why there's certain things drive me crazy. Like when they go, oh, you can't do that. Like it's like right now, the huge thing that I'm looking at is CBD oil. Right. Yeah. And it's like, it's changed people's lives. Yeah. It really has, and we have a product. I'm not trying to plug, but it goes back to CBD oil.
Plug whatever you want.
So we have a product called Cocoon, and the reason I started Cocoon is a couple of people on my team were really heavily into ambient to sleep, right? And I'm like, I don't take drugs.
CBD oil, is that like cannabis or something like that, right?
It comes from, there's two kinds of CBD from hemp and CBD from cannabis. CBD from hemp is you can ship anywhere in the nation.
And then some people are smoking it too, through like a vape pen and stuff like that too, right?
More of the CBD oil.
I don't know.
The CBD oil on that aspect is it's non-psychotropic, so it doesn't get you high. Mm-hmm. So it's like really good for muscle.
How do we get high? I want to get high.
Yeah, there's plenty of CBD. There's plenty of stuff for that. So it's like you look at that whole lens, and it's like with Cocoon we built that for a lot of, like I have a lot of friends. Like I have a lot of friends who take pills to sleep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it bums me out. I'm like, dude, that shit
fucks you up.
Yeah, that it changed. Anytime you're taking any pharmaceutical drug, it's changing your internal composition of what your body needs.
Well, even over the counter stuff. Like I have taken up to 20 milligrams of melatonin at night to sleep because I just am not a good sleeper. And what I realized recently is that it doesn't fucking matter whether I take something or I don't take something.
Yeah.
I sleep about the same. And so the thing to do is just try to be on top of it, try to
not to be stressed,
have some kind of routine, not be stressed. Well, exactly.
Yeah. So we had this product Cocoon, and it's got tryptophan. So it's like 2 scoops. It's like eating 2 turkeys, literally. It's not the fats of it. It's like it's a casein protein, but it's like it has tryptophan in it.
Yeah.
And so it turns out this kid who has one of the guys who was taking it, his kid has autism, and his kid ended up drinking it. And he saw with his kid, his tone changed. So now he gives his kid for his autism.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of
cool.
just kind of mellowed him out. So it's just as you discover things and you work through things, it just happens. And it goes back to that aspect of what we were saying of like, everything's bad for you, this, that, and the other. It's like, you have to look at like, yeah, it's, you can't, it's free will. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Is Coke bad for you? I don't know. Coca-Cola, it's like, sure damn tastes good. But if I drink a case of it, yeah, it's bad for me.
That'd be a
But again,
problem,
if I drink a case of beer, it's bad for me.
Right.
You know,
You also think about like what's a food you would eat if you were not feeling really well. You know, it's probably going to be something processed. You know, you're probably going to have a piece of toast or a cracker or something like that. It's going to be like, it's not going to be something that just comes from the earth.
Yeah, when your kids are sick, what do you give them? You give them crackers and a 7-Up.
If you have you're nauseous, you're not going to eat salmon. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
the most disgusting thing ever.
Yeah, it's like
fuck
True
that.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think for like all people and everything you're doing is like, just do what works for you, man.
Right.
Don't shove your shit down my throat.
I think a lot of times too, people think they're going to like eat something to be healthier, and it really just doesn't work that way. If you have a consistent lifestyle for a long period of time, it at best can help you maintain whatever you had from your youth. You know,
I actually just heard about a health plan somewhere in the United States. I can't remember where it was, but instead of prescribing just like drugs for people, especially diabetics, they prescribe food, and they actually provide food for them. They basically give them a month's worth of food every month, fresh food and stuff. And they've cut way back on their pharmaceutical costs because people are eating better, you know,
right? And they're regaining some stuff they might have had.
Well, let's look at like what's happening in surfing right now with PTSD. So they have these taking veteran surfing, right? They figured out if you have cystic fibrosis, being in the ocean, the salt water helps you breathe better. So there's a whole thing with surfing and cystic fibrosis. There's all these different things. Like to me, like a really good example is like, hey Mark, here's a donut. You're like, dude, rad, I got a donut. Or if you go, hey dude, what you did that really made me happy. That was important to me and that impressed me. He's gonna walk away and go, that high of somebody giving you that accolade is going to carry you way more than the donut, right? Mm-hmm. So it goes back to how are you living your life? How much positivity are you trying to spread? Like there's always that like that. It's like you can tell when I walked in here yesterday. There were some people that were like smiling. There's some people who they might have had some angst. They wanted to let it rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have those things, and it's like. There's not those positive accolades that are going on. It's how do you do stuff? Like I was the king of sleeping bad because I used to think like, God, I have this idea. I need to work on this, or I need to do that, or somebody's saying this about me, or something's going wrong. And then I realized I'm like, dude, is that person losing any sleep over me?
Right.
Like I'm sitting here tripping out, and that guy's probably sleeping. Like I'm not going to lose sleep over him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And people are like, I'm the king. I can right now. I could go lay down in the corner, and I guarantee in 30 seconds I'd be sound asleep. And you guys go, how the hell did you do that? Because I've just taught myself to just figure out how to sleep. I go back to is like you got to try and spend that positivity. And it's one of the things that drives me the most crazy in any kind of aspect of business is envy. Like envy. Like I want what you have. Right. Like how many people have come in and go, oh, I'm doing what Mark Bell's doing. Or we're doing something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't sit there and bask in your greatness. Like when somebody goes, like when I go, are we all taking a step back and really feeling the glow of the electricity of what just happened right now? Or are we looking at it going, fuck, I wish that was me. Well, how come that guy has it and I don't?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can verbatim, like, and that's what I was telling, you know, Ben's kids today. They go, well, if you could have that car, why didn't you have it? I'm all, because there's just better things I could do. Like the car doesn't, like cars don't bring you happiness.
Right.
Like I'll never forget. It was the epiphany. 2 years ago, I ran the Kona Marathon, and the last 3 miles of a marathon are every bit as long as the first 23. It's like you're taxed. It's insane, right? So as I'm finishing it, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? Like this, I have this palatial estate. I have cars. I have this, that, and I go, what are my favorite things to do? My favorite thing in the world to do is go surfing. You know how much that cost me? 0.
Yeah.
What's my second favorite thing to do? Go spearfishing. What does that cost me? Really nothing. Fishing, stand up, like all the things I love to do are pretty much ocean based. It was my activities. And I went, none of that cost me anything. These are my activities. And right when I finished the race, I called my wife and I'm done. She was all, what? And I go, I'm done with the big house. I'm done with everything. I want to get rid of everything. You know what she said to me? I've been waiting for years for you to say that. I go, I'm done. I went from like a 6,000 square foot house to we just moved into 1,600.
Yeah.
I could go a whole day in my house and never see my wife in my old house. Seriously, a whole day, not see her. Wake up and not see her the whole day, and we'd both be in the same house. Oh, God. It's just like, so you look at that and you kind of just went, and then when people go, dude, that's your dream house. I go, no, it's my reality house. It's your dream house.
Yeah.
That's my reality. I live every day. My $1,000 electric bill, that sucks. But you get to that point where you can afford it.
Right.
So it doesn't. You don't think about it and that stuff. And it's like, so I decided to take a step back and just go, I just want. You can't buy happiness. You can't train into happiness. There's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do to create happiness is just try to be honest and kind to people and say hello.
The best
Smile.
thing, they say the best things in life are free. And then also, too, going back to your childhood, getting a kite for you and your siblings to split, that was your Christmas present.
Dude, it was awesome.
And you're fucking excited as hell about it.
Yeah, I go back to, I bought my wife the nicest Mercedes you could buy, and it was the biggest piece of shit I've ever owned in my life. And I would tell everybody, don't buy Mercedes-Benz. They're pieces of crap.
Yeah.
I hope you don't own one, but they're terrible. Do you own one?
No.
Yeah, so it's just like...
I don't either.
So my whole, I go back to is like, it's like the rawness and the aura of Mark Bell, right? He's a fucking rad dude, right? You're a rat like Jason Kleepler. But then there's other people you meet and you go, that guy's a prick and he should be punched in the face,
Yeah.
right? It is like it's how you carry yourself, and it's like you should be present. Your sole mission in life should be to spread positivity. And you know what's the hardest thing to do in the world? Spread positivity.
Yeah.
I always like, and one of my favorite quotes of all time, positivity is like 6-pack abs. Really hard to get, hard to keep. But when you have them, you feel really damn good and you like to walk around showing them off. Negativity is the common cold and it spreads like wildfire. And all you want to do, and all people want to do when they have negativity is shake your hand. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just that
Keep
challenge.
passing it around.
Yeah, it's just it's gnarly, and it's like it's so easy to find yourself in that space. Like when we were doing the stuff with our former partners, I just was like, dude, these guys suck. 30 years is the worst relationship I've ever been in.
Yeah.
But I look at Greg Glassman, he's a fucking rad dude.
He's a beast.
He's a legit dude. Mark Bell's a legit dude. Shane Dorian's a legit dude. There's like guys like Shane Dorian's a huge heart. The list goes on. Ben Alderman, Jason Kleber. There's these guys who are out there and once you start to step away, that was the beautiful thing about being at Nike. Nike is like college. When you leave, they want to go, that guy came from Nike.
Yeah. Alumni.
Yeah, like, this is a Nike guy.
Yeah.
Right? Other companies, you say anything about, and you're excommunicated. Like, you don't exist. We erase you from the world. Right? You can't be part of what you're doing. You can't come speak at our event. It's like, dude, what are you doing? This is royalty. He's a champion.
Yeah, the guy was part of it, yeah.
Yeah, he was on the ground floor. But no. I'm like, wow, really? Really? Honestly? That's how you're going to play? Then I got no time for you. Right? And it's just, that's the thing. It's like, so full circle, everything in my life that I've been fully blessed to have is because I've run into people who gave me an opportunity, and if I didn't want the opportunity, or if it was something I wasn't into, I would say, not my bag, thank you. Or if it was something I saw that would be really good for me, I took it, owned it, and paid homage to the person who gave me that opportunity. 100%. Everything that I've learned in CrossFit, I pay homage to Chris Spieler, Matt Chan, Ben Smith, Jason Klepa, Miranda. Like there's Dan Bailey. Like these guys, they're awesome people, right? And they've guided me. And do I want to be I don't want to go to. Everyone's like, you should take a level 1. I'm all for what? I hate school. I'm not going to go take a test on a weekend. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Right? I'm not going to be some level 1.
Right.
What's your coaching credential? Where did you go to school to be a power lifter?
I got nothing.
Show me your paperwork, bro. I don't see it up here.
I got no degree, and
You
I
got
got
Stone
nothing.
Cold, though.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have a Coors Light up here with Stone Cold.
The rattlesnake. He's got his own beer now.
Dude,
I was depressed he didn't bring us any.
how
couple weeks
honestly,
ago.
that to me, Stone Cold, like there's nobody more raw than that.
Oh, he's the best. Yeah.
It's like but you look at those people, like wrestling. When I was a kid growing up, it was like Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's funny, right? When I walked them all, Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, you were pumped.
And I was like, dude, Ultimate Warrior. And Ben Alderman's like, how did you know who that was? I'm like, dude, that's the ultimate. Like, you don't realize that was the Ultimate Warrior. Like, there's these personas we live through, and we want to be in the good guy becoming the bad guy, and it's like it's life. One day you're a good guy, the next day you're a bad guy. You're not going to make everyone happy, but if it's out of a place like I love when people are upfront with me and tell me I suck. I'm cool with that. I'm okay. Like you're not going to hurt my feelings. I don't care. Like it's like I could go back to it's like what Jim and I were talking about earlier. I know who my family is, and like you can come in my life and you can exit my life, and I have no beef. I have no hard feelings. Like hey, that was yesterday.
Right.
Yes, if we could all change yesterday, would we all be standing right here right now? We'd probably think we could all do it differently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I love Family Guy, when Stewie's always going back in time trying to change shit. You know what I mean? And it always backfires on him. Do you watch Family Guy?
My kids watch it all the time,
Oh my
so
God.
I end up watching it.
It's the best show
My
ever.
kids have been watching it since they've been really little.
So
and,
they're just so
yeah, and all the jokes are totally inappropriate, but they're on like a different level a lot of times. The jokes, so back in the day they didn't get them, so it just didn't matter, and I just don't care about that anyway.
It does
I don't
blow
really
my
care
mind
about
that at one point
censoring
that
them.
show was canceled, and then they had to bring it back because it became so popular on DVDs. And,
oh yeah, it's I mean Family Guy is like one of my like I said, it's like if you can spread like I go back to it. I just keep going back to like that yesterday thing. Like when I go down and in East LA and I go to the Google them, the Diablos, they build the best lowriders on the planet, and they don't make any money. They really don't make any money do it. They built the Legacy. They built all these incredible cars. But you walk in this garage and it's just like there's this intensity of like something rad.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
it's
they
like
love to do.
you walk into like my friend Scott Senior. There's this thing. It's called Cycle Zombies. It's in Huntington Beach. And Scotty Senior. He used to repair air conditioners and build custom motorcycles on the side. Now he's builds custom, and you walk in that shop and he's like, there's this raw intensity of something that's happening. There's like what Jesse used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
Like it's just like there's this rawness, and then the next thing you know, it just gets. I love if you've ever watched the documentary on Harley Davidson.
Never seen it.
Oh, dude, it's a great documentary about how AMC came and bought them, and they got homogenized, and they became bankrupt, and it just was like they wanted to make it the American this, that, and the other, and just people are just like, dude, the Harley Davidson's raw, right?
Right.
So to me, I don't know how much longer we have to talk. I'll just talk all day.
we're going to have cameras start to die in just a minute.
I think it's interesting what you're talking about. I think that the only thing you can really like give somebody or share with somebody, you can give people money, you can give them, I can send people slingshots and these different things, but like those things don't really last. Like a slingshot, you may use it in your program for a while, or I can send you a T-shirt or a hat. It's like you'll wear it here and there, but it doesn't really do a ton for you. The only thing I can really give you that has true value is information. information / memories. Like those are the things you can actually give people. So you talk about positivity. Somebody comes through the door and you think that they improved on something, or maybe they lost a little bit of weight. I mean, it makes people feel fucking amazing.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, dude, you lose a couple pounds, like looking good, and you hold on to that and you walk around different for like the whole day.
Yeah,
and you're like, fuck, that feels good,
And it's just words. Like, words are the most powerful. I always tell people, like, words are the most damaging or powerful things in the world. Yeah. It's insane. That, like, be careful. I always try to be careful.
Even when you're kidding with somebody,
yeah,
sometimes you
dude,
crush them and you're like,
I've said stuff like, because like I'm super, like, I'm like you. I
like to have fun.
I like to have fun. And it's
sometimes it's at somebody's expense.
Most of the time, it's at everyone's expense. Right? Did the camera just die?
Yeah, one died.
Yep, that's one.
Yep. Let's just keep going. We'll wrap it up in a second.
So, my whole thing is like spread positivity, spread aloha. I go back to. I'm not perfect. I used to charge money to have me help you in your business. I just do it for free. My undeniable.
It's probably a lot of fun for you.
Well, yeah. My whole thing is, how I'm successful? I'm the king of finding something where it's missing.
Right.
Right. In supplements, has there ever been a supplement brand? No. People run around wearing Progenex shirts like it's a clothing company.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? That's because I want it to be a brand. I want it to be cool. I want it to be fun. I want you to feel like you're part of something.
Right.
Right? I want you to be, it's like, I want to, it goes back to what Bob and Hurley and I was like, we put a premium on smiles, man. Let's just have fun. Let's do rad shit. And that's where it's like, as a message, as our partners started deviating from that message and making it not fun, it's over.
Yeah, we have one more.
We have one more.
Yeah. As we started deviating from the fun and the aspect of it all, then I don't want it. It's not fun, man. I want to spread up. I want it to be fun. Like that night I was with you, dude. I had such a good time.
That was a blast.
It was so fun. Like I went to Jason Cleveland. Like Ben yesterday, it probably wasn't as fun for him because I was pretty brutal with him about his business. But that's what he asked for.
Yeah.
If you're gonna ask for that, be careful what you ask for.
Hey, it'll give him a
Always be
memory,
careful what you
and you
ask for.
shared good information with him that'll help him for a long time.
Yeah. So on one final note, I always try to show people on a positivity standpoint. One thing I love about Hawaiians, if you ever go to Hawaii now, they come over and they give you macadamia nuts. Now they always bring you a gift.
Yeah.
Right? So if you give a kid a candy bar, if I walk up and go, dude, here's a candy bar, a kid's gonna be like, dude, awesome, that was awesome. But if I go to a kid and go, here's the candy store, pick one. I'm a total asshole, right? Just be direct with your message.
Yeah.
Just be direct. Like if it's a positive, just you don't need to overly sugarcoat it. You just go, hey, this is what you're doing good. Period in a sentence. And never say but.
Yeah.
Because if you say but, it just discounts anything that anyone else
It
said.
just erases everything you said.
It just erases everything you said. Just say, if you're trying to be positive, somebody say, and then they're not doing something you want, go, hey man, you're doing this really, really awesome. And if we focused on this, imagine how much better you're going to be. You're doing this and that, but it's just like, oh, so everything I did before was wrong? You just take people on a ride. Make it a positive ride. Make it fun. Make it rad. Like, dude, every day, you never know. And you like I said, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, killer. How long do I have to live? Awesome. Rad. Oh, it's my right nut. Oh, killer. Now I don't have a right nut. Awesome. This is bitching. I always tell people, be careful when you say you give your right nut for anything because they come collecting.
Maybe talk about the left nut.
Yeah, I don't want to do that now. I have no nuts. That's why I can't have 6 pounds. Go, dude. I'm like, dude, I can't take any kind of human growth hormones. I can't take any kind of testosterone, any kind of shit, because it'll grow tumors in my body and I'll die.
Yeah.
So 6-pack abs are starting on the deck for me. So
guys,
burritos are.
This has been Paul Gomez from some shit beginnings to having a mega company in Hurley. To successfully selling that company to Nike, and then now moving on to some other things with Progenex. Awesome having you on the show today. Appreciate you coming. Well, I just broke the microphone. There. Awesome having you come in. I'm glad you had a chance to check out Super Training Gym. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smellybell on Instagram and Twitter. See y'all later.
Where can we find you? Where can they find you? Or do you want them to find you?
You can just find me on my Instagram, just Paul Gomez, one word.
Awesome.
I don't have business cards.
Check out Progenex supplements.
Yeah,
just Google
check
it.
it.
You'll find it. Progenex.com probably.
Google
right
all
now.
the rad stuff that people hate on us about. It's pretty sick. And then go to Progenex USA and read the real stuff.
There you go.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Shout out to all our sponsors, 8Man Strong Apparel at 8manstrong.com, bodybuilding.com for all your supplement needs, Compex USA for cutting-edge muscle stim machines. Get 28 additional % off with code PowerCast. Increase your bench at howmuchyoubench.net. Power, the only strength magazine available in both digital and print at thepowermagazine.com. Precision Nutrition. Get the free course, especially for our listeners, at get.pn/powercast. That's get.pn/powercast. And Health IQ, a life insurance company with special rates for weightlifters. See if you qualify today by going to healthiq.com/powercast and support this show by doing so. I'm the Jim McD on all the social media. Follow the show on Instagram. We are at Mark Bell's PowerCast, and we are out of this one.
Later.
See that?